Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and frolicking festivities. That was a new one. Nobody's ever said that before to everyone today. It is our big Christmas episode, I think, of Monday Madness this week. We'll be going over some of our favourite Christmas movies, our favourite Christmas songs. We'll be comparing some Christmas traditions and foods and these kind of things as well at the end in our fun and games segment that is more to do with fun than games today, which is unusual, really, I suppose, for fun and games. Before all our fun Christmas discussion, though, we have a few trailers to talk about, as well as our full review of Avatar: The Way of Water. Whole bunch of stuff today. A fun episode, no doubt. Like I said, Merry Christmas, everyone. Welcome to the madness. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Monday Madness with Morgan and the Machine. Hello, the Machine.
Hello, the Morgan. How are you doing today?
Yes, wonderful. We both have Christmas jumpers on. It's all very nice. Mine, you can't really see the good part of mine, actually, but it's got reindeer,
Yes, very
white
festive.
reindeers on.
Mine's
Yours is
mine's a bit
red and
punny.
green
I don't know if
Christmas
you
tree.
can see. Well, it says "Let there be," and then we have this tree in the middle, and it says "On Earth." So it could either be peace on Earth, and you have your nice tree, or it could be pizza on Earth. Let there be pizza.
Oh,
on
I
Earth.
see.
It's a slice
It's
of
a
pizza.
yeah, but it's one of those like ones you rub and it
Yes, or
changes the
it can be a
thing.
tree. Yes.
Okay. The audio listeners, unfortunately, to Monday
Can't
Madness
see the
have not
fun
been
of
able
mine.
to, can't
Yes.
see our lovely Christmas jumpers today or Christmas sweaters. There's a difference already, Jeannine. There's a difference
Yes.
already.
Yes.
Sweaters, jumpers, and all this business. What do you call it? Could
Yes.
call it anything. But I don't know where to start, actually. I'm very excited, obviously, because this is our last episode of the year, actually, of Monday
Yeah.
Madness. We're going to have a couple of weeks, little holiday break from Monday Madness. We'll certainly be back the second week of January, I think,
Yes.
is when it will be in 2023 for, I presume, some sort of 2022 roundup situation. I assume that's kind of
Oh
what we'll
yeah,
be talking
I
about,
think we
maybe.
wanted to talk about maybe like our favorite films of the year, or we had
Yeah.
so much horror in 2022, so much good horror. So I think we wanted to kind of maybe do a little countdown of like, the best horror of the year, what we liked,
Yeah.
something like that. So definitely going to be a lot of kind of year in review type kind of conversations to look forward to.
That usually tends to happen with people in January
Yes.
anyway, doesn't it? It certainly
Yes.
does. But yes, let's get into a few things that we have to talk about then before we get fully festive on this week's episode. I don't know if you want to briefly brush over this. I mean, is it worth brushing over? Do we do it a disservice to simply brush over it? But this is after everybody's big excitement about, look, Henry Cavill's back as Superman at the post-credit scene of Black
Yes.
Adam. That
Mhm.
post-credit scene is now null and void. It's gone into the weird category of post-credit scenes that are supposedly
Went nowhere.
exciting but don't actually mean anything now.
Yeah.
Because Henry Cavill is not going to be James Gunn and Peter Safran's planned Superman.
Yes.
He's out of the role.
Yes. So they have talked about,
Seemed respectfully done.
yes, he seems to have said it was done, in a lot of understanding, from James Gunn's kind of perspective. He's kind of talked about how their kind of planned ideas for those characters are going a bit younger to start. So that is kind of the biggest reason why they didn't go with Cavill, because they kind of want to just do a fresh start with younger kind of iterations of these characters. Um he also kind of mentioned that he had, very kind of solid conversations about wanting to still work with Henry Cavill in the DC universe on some level. So there could be potential for him to play different characters in their interpretation of the DC universe. So
Yeah.
I would love to see that for him. I'm just more disappointed for him that he just never got kind of his fair shake of Superman. We got Man of Steel, which I think is a solid film. I do enjoy it. However, it does have kind of very depressing kind of it tries to kind of play that it's like leading to this kind of hopeful idea by the end, which is kind of a big thing with the character, but it is a very kind of, you know, colorless, sad
It's a
kind of
bleaker look, obviously, at
yes,
Superman,
very
isn't it?
bleak
Yes.
and very sad, very kind of Jesus icon version of Superman, right?
Yes.
And um so it would have been nice to kind of explore him kind of finding his humanity and being this kind of more wholesome and kind of light bright character that he's kind of now known to be or has been known to be in comics and other films. And it would have been great to let him have the opportunity to have a sequel to do that, but because the DCU wanted to kind of play these games with Marvel and force their MCU way too quickly, he never got his sequel film. So I just feel bad for the man who really loves this character, who loved playing this character and didn't really get an opportunity to stretch his legs as this character. Because even in BVS, that story was just very sloppy, so he didn't really get to do much there. And then in the Justice League, he's dead and kind of fridged for a big majority of it. So he never really got the opportunity to really grow into that character and give that character any kind of development outside of just being very kind of bleak and sad. So I just feel bad for Henry Cavill who loved this character and didn't really get to kind of, you know, fully fly as Superman. And so that's kind of where my disappointment comes in. I just feel bad for him. Um
Yeah.
because I'm
What I
excited
mean,
for kind of a new direction for DC because of just how sloppy everything's been. But I'm just sad for the man more than kind of losing, any future Snyder casting movies.
absolutely, absolutely. Look, what we got from Henry Cavill in those movies were snippets of a really great Superman,
Yeah.
moments of a really great
Hmm.
Superman, visually a wonderful, wonderful Superman, but with no meaningful character story because he wasn't given one that really made a great deal of sense or took patience and time to take or to tell.
Yes. Hmm.
We didn't get that, so we
We
didn't get
didn't.
that. But we got the snippets, we got the knowledge, and he will be remembered as a great picture, a great
Yeah.
image of Superman.
Yes. He looks great. He worked well with what he was given. But yeah, he didn't get to kind of see, explore that other side of Superman, and that's a bummer.
But again, I'm with you in the sense that it does make total sense that he kind of wouldn't. It does make total sense that Gunn and Safran would want to just
Start
totally
over.
change kind of everything. I mean,
Yeah.
we're expecting really news of pretty much everybody else, major casting to go, no, we're not going to use you going forward, which is going to be even more of a shame for these more people. I think we spoke about this last week,
Yeah.
but it makes sense, and I think it's petty and childish for people to be up in arms about it because it actually is the one thing that makes the most sense. Why wouldn't they want totally clean slate to
Yeah.
do entirely their own thing with no carryover, no baggage, positive or negative, that you may get even from cast members? And I know I said last week I would like to see these cast members, some continue, but yeah, it just does make sense to me. It just does make sense to
Yeah.
me why
Yes.
they
So you don't
wouldn't,
you
and
don't
it is a
you don't
shame.
fault yeah, you don't fault them for that decision, but it just sucks for Henry Cavill. Is kind of where I stand with
Yes,
it.
yes, absolutely. We did want to mention that it was quite a big piece of news, really. I think
Yeah.
along
Hmm.
along the petty train. of all this actually was Dwayne Johnson himself, who has apparently unfollowed the Warner Brothers and DC accounts on
Oh,
social media,
wow. Okay.
um, because I think his situation with Black Adam's been a bit strange anyway. Like was there some sort of fudging numbers situation?
I mean, yeah, like he was trying to kind of talk about how that it was way more successful because like people are kind of using the word bomb in terms of, its
Yeah,
box office standing. And I think he was trying to kind of fudge it a little bit to make it seem like it was not a bomb. So,
yeah.
yeah,
I don't know if it's simply down to that or it's got something
actual
to do with what's going on, with Gunn and Saffron. But I have more faith in a new clean slate than I do in any strewn together kind of situation
connections
from
with
from what we've had.
what we have cobbled together right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I just do. It just makes more sense to me. That's all.
Yes. Agreed.
But yes, trailers that we do have to talk about. I mean, let's
Yes.
let's keep it first. I think along the superhero train is because we of course got the full trailer for Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse, the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, the beautifully animated Miles Morales Spider-Man. Well, every Spider-Man, but mainly Miles Morales Spider-Man movie that looks. I mean, he's got taller. Miles
Yes.
Morales is tall now.
Yes, and I mean, it opens with kind of this conversation with his mom who, like, had more to say in this clip than she's had to say in the whole first movie. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, just having this kind of talk about, protect that little boy, I can always protect you and kind of giving us the nod that they probably know like what he's been doing, that he is Spider-Man
Oh,
and all of these
yeah.
things. So yeah, I like this kind of opening setup conversation, and then we kind of just have this chaos of what this movie's going to be. Just kind of this big mob of spider people fighting, seeing these kind of descending dimensions with all kinds of different spider people walking around. I've seen breakdowns, and they're kind of pointing out all these different spider people I never even knew existed. There's like
Oh,
Baghead
God, yeah, there's
Spider-Man.
way more of them.
Yes. um we actually see, I think, Peter B. Parker with, a baby strapped to him. So, it's safe to say him
Yes.
and Mary Jane reconciled and, went on to have children because that was kind of one of the biggest issues of kind of the divorce and all the issues that he was going through with her in his universe. Um, so yeah, and it seems like maybe this Oscar Isaac Spider-Man is gonna be kind of um
Yeah.
a bit of a foil to these other spider people. He's gonna have his own kind of ideas. I liked getting to see Issa Rae's kind of Spider Woman as they gave her the afro and gave her that look and
Yes.
um yeah, and I think she's pregnant, which is I think something that's from the comics as well. So I think we're gonna get to see some of these spider people in different animation styles that are kind of reminiscent of their universes, a la kind of the first film.
It does look like that, and it does look like while obviously in the first movie we got them in their own animation styles kind of in Miles's world,
Yeah.
it seems like you're gonna get them almost in their own world. So the entire movie's gonna change animation style at certain times. And I think that's exciting. I mean, what are we going for this, into this movie for?
Yeah.
We're going for the visuals of it, really, aren't we? Yes, the first movie was a great Spider-Man story, but it was visually unlike anything else we'd ever
Yeah.
seen. Quite similar,
Yes.
actually, to a movie we'll be reviewing slightly later on, I think.
Yes.
Visually unlike anything we've really ever seen.
Yeah, a whole innovative new style of animation with
So
kind of the
that's why
frame
we're
rates
going.
and everything. Yeah.
More of that. I want more of that. And I'm
Yes.
getting more of that. seemingly from this trailer. So
Yes, and just
yes,
having fun with
give
this
me it.
very expansive spider universe of the comics, if you look into comic books, there are so many iterations of spider characters, and so this is gonna be a really fun look to, introduce novice people, like, I don't know all these kinds of versions, to
No.
some really fun kind of versions of Spider-Man from different universes and different styles and, different backstories and all of these different kinds of things, so it looks like a bunch of chaos, but it looks like a lot of fun. So I'm really curious to see how this kind of multiverse explodes and how it's going to interconnect and kind of who our true villain's going to be and
Yeah.
yeah, and kind of what's going on with Gwen and Miles's relationship because that seems to be a little bit unclear, like how he's still kind of able to see her and visit her over however many years that have passed and so, yeah, I'm really kind of curious to see where our characters are and where they're going and how all of this madness plays into that. So, it looks like a lot
Yes.
of fun.
With and of course, it all comes with much responsibility
As
and
usual.
much
Yeah.
power, and
Yes,
all
yes.
these kind of famous Spider-Man related terms,
Yes.
because this is Miles. It just looks like Miles growing into a more rounded Spider-Man.
Yeah, he seems more kind of natural and his suit looks like new and, he's very much kind of more natural in how he uh goes about being Spider-Man. This is like a day-to-day to him natural now.
Yeah.
I like that we got to see that. Like he's kind of just grown into being this hero and as compared to like where he was in the
Yes.
first movie. So, yeah, it's nice.
Nervous, really,
Yes,
wasn't
yeah.
he?
Yeah.
Terrified of himself,
Yes.
really, in Into
So
the
nice to see
Spider-Verse.
him kind of come into his own in this movie.
Yeah,
So,
I'm very,
yeah.
very excited for it. Well, Janine, I think we've got a movie you're
Mm.
particularly excited for as well, obviously. Now, this would be, we also got a teaser trailer, was it? A shorter teaser trailer, only a minute long, I think, something like
Mhm.
this, for Scream 6, which has just a lovely title, not
I
like a
was I was gonna
stupid
say
one.
that. Like I love that they were just very chill with it. They didn't try to be fancy. I know there was a lot of images of kind of like the chairs, the backs of the chairs that had Scream with like 2 exclamation points. So like Scream 2, but it's really not Scream 2, but it's
Yeah,
Scream 2 to this year's Scream. So, that whole kind of I'm like, just don't make it complicated. So I like, when they took the M and they kind of did this slash and made it
yeah,
like
they did
Roman
the
numeral.
V for the 5 in the M
Yes.
and put the 1 on the end.
Yes. So I absolutely kind of just love the chillness of this title, that it works, that it's, still kind of the fun, ridiculous number in your title kind of thing, but it works. And
Yes, of
it
course it
and,
is.
and yes. And they didn't get too kind of fancy or, overthinking with it.
And look,
Um
we know full well that Scream 5 was just called Scream because it was a joke on legacy sequels.
yes,
And it just
yes.
called their own title again.
Yes, which people were kind of just expecting, well, just make the 5 the S, and then so there was this kind of this
Yeah.
running joke that it's called 5 cream. Um, uh,
I don't wanna
which,
watch that. I don't wanna
yes, well,
watch
I mean,
5
even
Cream,
with
please. Not
well,
interested.
it's kind of how, like, in the Scream community, we call Scream 4 Screforum because they use the 4 as the A.
Yes. Yes, they
Yeah.
do. Yes,
And
they do.
uh one of the cast members even joked that, she's like, "Oh, the title of this film is going to be Scrissixum." um but yes, I was very very excited for this teaser trailer, just to kind of get a look at Ghostface in New York. I know there's going to be a lot of funny kind of nods to Jason Takes Manhattan, which there were a couple Jasons that we see in
This
this
is what we're
trailer.
getting. This is just what we're getting. This is gonna be an entire movie that just riffs on Jason Takes Manhattan
Which dude was in
constantly.
only in Manhattan like the last 15 minutes because they
Yes, he
couldn't
was.
afford it.
Yes. But obviously this is Ghostface, this is a Scream movie in a totally different location for
Yes,
the
and it's
first time.
well, no, it's not actually. I this is in a different location for the third time.
For the third
Um,
time. Am
yes,
I am I
Scream 2 took place
you know what?
at Windsor College, And Scream 3 majority took place in Los Angeles, in Hollywood.
You know what?
So
It's been that damn long since I've
you
seen 2 and
I
3.
know. I'm heartbroken because every time we talk about Scream on this channel, you always get something wrong or misremember something because you are
I
just so
do.
rusty with this franchise. This is my favorite franchise. Show some
I
respect,
know.
Morgan, and rewatch these movies.
But the problem is I know Scream 4 and the new one.
Okay, well
2
you
and
need to
3 are
watch
just they blank in my mind.
2 is great. 2 is actually a lot of fun, and people have really come around on 3 and just see it as this ridiculous thing. Scream 3 obviously was always seen kind of as the worst one, but people now when they go back and rewatch it, they're like, "You know what? I don't know why I was hating on Scream 3. It's actually really fun." So, if you kind of go into it with that mindset, there are a lot of kind of fun, memorable things in those movies. So yes, 2 and 3 actually did take place in outside of Woodsboro. You got 1 was Woodsboro, 4 was Woodsboro. So this is us, but even in Hollywood, LA, we weren't like running around the city. It was very much on studio sets and kind
Yeah,
of in contained spaces. I think that's probably why it's hard to kind of feel like that one took place
yeah.
anywhere, outside of Woodsboro. But this one, like you have this whole huge city to play around in. Like this teaser takes place on a subway, so you're really gonna be in the city, and we're gonna. This is the first time we're like actually celebrating a holiday, and when you have a horror movie that is set on Halloween, it's such a fun tool to really create paranoia for your
Oh, of
characters.
course it is.
So I
Of course it
absolutely
is,
love
because
that. But even
everyone's in a mask, and especially with the ghost face
yes. So you
situation.
see two ghost faces alone on this subway. But even just kind of looking around the trailer, it's really fun. You get to see some like, we actually see a girl dressed like Samara Weaving from Ready or Not in the back. We see a
Yeah.
Chucky, we see Jason, we see a Babadook, which was heavily mentioned in Scream 5. We see some Us characters. Jordan Peele was like, given his accolades in Scream 5. One of the characters were like Jordan Peele rules kind of conversation. So if you look around, there are some fun kind of horror characters. There's a Ziggy Stardust, so it's really kind of fun to just kind of look around and see these little kind of Easter egg characters dressed up for Halloween in the subway. But then, of course, yes, we do get our two ghost face. Our characters are kind of a little bit panicked, and then one approaches Mindy's character and seemingly, covers her mouth and attacks her. But I don't think they would show a kill on in a teaser trailer. So
I
it
doubt
probably
it.
yeah. So it might be someone who knows them or something like that. But yeah, I just think it was just enough, to really kind of have you interested, to really kind of show you how they're going to use this New York setting, the fact that it is actually a holiday and that's kind of new. So I'm really curious to see them kind of play around in this environment and you know doing something different with the kind of holiday background. Um,
Do you think
so
we'll
so
get a Scream at Christmas?
I mean, we could. I think Scream was actually the first Scream was actually released around Christmas time. Like, I think the first 2 films were
Okay.
released in December. So, yeah, I mean, it could happen. There are crazier things that have happened.
Ghostface
So
dressed as Santa. I'm here
yeah.
for that. I'm
I
here
mean,
for
that'd be fun.
Ghostface in a Santa hat. Anybody?
Yes.
He'd
Um,
suit one. You know,
yes, I
big
think he
big
he definitely,
big mouth,
white.
Santa hat,
Yeah.
white frilly
Yes.
coat.
I think it works. I think it works. So yes, I needless to say, I am super hyped for this. Just curious to see how they're gonna work in like Kirby's character and things like that. But this teaser really just got me excited for this. However, I'm not sure I was a fan of the kind of alien ripoff tagline that they used within the trailer.
They did. Yes, they did.
Yes, like in a city of millions, no one can hear your screams or something like that. I'm like, that sounds a
Yeah.
little like, in space, no one can hear you scream. Um, yeah, it
But
felt
do we
very
not
much.
just take anything like this in Scream movies as just they know what they're doing, they're riffing on something? Because
Yeah.
surely this is what we just take these things as. Like I
Yes, I
said,
mean,
this movie. Yeah.
even the poster tag is like kind of a reuse tag. It's New York, new rules, which the Scream
Oh
4
God.
yes, which the Scream 4 tag was new decade, new rules. So, yeah.
You the level of knowledge you have about random trivia in the Scream movies is
I
just
mean, I
impressive.
love it. I'm obsessed. this franchise made me a full-fledged horror fan. So,
Oh, I know
um,
this. I I
yes.
I I know
Hmm.
this well. I know this
Yes.
well.
But yes, I'm just excited for this movie. Also kind of just tying into that, uh, I guess Kevin Williamson, writer of these films, except for 3, he actually came out and confirmed that Stu is in fact dead, because I guess there was some debate. Maybe people were thinking he was going to come back in this movie, or there was a chance he would. I know Kevin Williamson's original script for Scream 3 was going to have like Stu just, be injured and in jail, and he was going to kind of have this cult that was going to be the ones kind of coming after Sydney in 3, but he ultimately ended
Okay.
up not writing that script, and it was another writer. Why I think Scream 3 is also not seen as the best Scream
Okay.
film, because it wasn't the one not written by Kevin Williamson. But yeah, so we got that confirmation. So I don't see Stu kind of popping up as the killer in this in this movie.
Admittedly, I had always just assumed Stu died at the end of Scream. I mean, it was pretty. It
Yeah,
looked like
when
he
a giant
death
ass
to
90,
me.
which I mean, maybe these youngins don't realize how heavy those old ass TVs were,
No,
but
I remember. I
yeah,
remember. We had one. I
yeah.
remember how heavy the big black box televisions.
Yes, and
Horrible
there were
things.
sparks and electrocutions, and those sounds he was making were pretty
I I don't
like
understand why people would think
that he
Stu would
survived
be
that.
alive.
Yeah.
To come back, even though okay, that would be a good idea.
Yes, because
It would be a nice idea, wouldn't it?
I was gonna say, because literally, we have never gotten a killer in a Scream movie that wasn't someone who was introduced to us in that movie. The Scream killer has never been somebody we've previously met in a previous film. It's
Yeah,
always
and
been someone we've met in the movie we're currently watching.
yeah, and then they
We've
end up
never
dying.
Yes, we've never had somebody old from the past who, survived the previous
No.
movie or whatever, come back and be the killer in the new movie. In a later movie. It's always
Yeah.
somebody we just met in this new
Well,
movie. So I think it would be a really cool different thing to actually have the killer be someone we already know, someone we met from a previous film, now coming back, and something messed up with their head, or so they have this whole new plan, or they're
yeah.
over, they're just effed up survivor's guilt, and they're just like, I don't know. And they, snap and decide to kind of take over the moniker. So I mean, we've never gotten that in a Scream movie before, and considering we are not working with our beautiful Sydney Prescott, and we're now kind of having to work around that and do something different with this story. I mean, I think that would be
Yes,
cool.
because there's no Sydney, is there
Yes,
in
no.
Scream 6?
People are
There's not
holding out
going to
hope
be
that it's just kind of a
Sydney.
trick to, like, oh, they're just saying that, so it'll be surprised when she shows up. But I think I can confirm that she won't be in this movie. So
Which is a shame.
yes.
Which is a shame. I'm sure we talked about that when the news of that came out
Mhm. Yeah.
on this show.
Yes, sucks. It
Um,
sucks that they couldn't just pay her what, she was worth, because she's the backbone of this franchise. So
she's the face. She's the
yes.
absolute face of it all. Um, who's to say though that a returning character won't be the Ghostface in in this movie, in Ghostface Takes Manhattan? Because
Yes. I mean,
they
Kirby's
might
coming
be.
back. One of our original characters might have snapped, or, we are uh dealing with a
It's
character.
Gale. It's
I
not
mean,
Gale. Imagine
I
if
mean,
it was Gale.
right? Right? I mean, we are working with a character who was having hallucinations of her father, who was the original killer. So I mean, who knows if
Yes, that's
something could
true.
traumatize her to the point where she's now kind of in a dual mindset, and she doesn't realize what she's doing, or
That's a
some
good
kind of,
point.
yeah,
Anything's fair game.
yes. Who
Anything's fair
knows?
game for Scream
Yeah,
6. I'm very
I'm
excited
just
for it as
hyped. It was a
well.
little teaser, but it just got me even
It
more
was.
excited.
It was a well put together teaser. Ghostface
Yes,
on a subway train. You've never seen this
yes,
before. This is new
yes. It's
territory
new. It's a new
for
thing. So
Scream.
excited. Yeah.
It
New
is. It is
York,
very
new
exciting.
rules.
New York, new rules. Please, Morgan, go and watch Scream 2 and 3. You just never
Yes.
you never go and watch Scream 2.
Well,
You
Scream 2
always
just
go and watch
celebrated
Scream,
its
don't
Scream
you?
2 just celebrated its 25th anniversary. So please do yourself a favor
Yes.
and
But
watch it.
I'm like this with sequels, is that I'll sit myself down and I'll go, okay, let's go and watch these movies. And we'll have a big whole franchise of movies. And then I'll watch the first one. And then I'll say, that satisfied me enough. Let's not bother. And that's what I do with Scream. That's what I've done with Scream for the last 7 years.
Morgan,
I've just
please.
constantly watched Scream and never the others.
Scream 2 is the most diverse of the franchise. We have the most black
I know
people.
I've watched it once.
Yes. Well, you need to watch it. We have a smart character who's like, people are getting killed. I'm getting the hell out of here. Like,
I know,
yes.
and I
Yes.
know it disappoints you every time I mention
It does.
this
It breaks my heart.
kind of
Do
thing.
you want to break my heart, Morgan?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I want to break Ghostface's mask.
Yes. Well,
No,
I
I'm
mean,
like
there was
Ghostface.
actually a picture that was
I have
released
one
as
myself.
well. There was actually a picture that was released with Ghostface in a very much like Michael Myers-esque distressed Ghostface mask. Like it looks all
No, we don't want
craggled
that.
and it
We
looks
don't want.
all craggled and beaten and worn. So I don't know what that means, but
Unless it's a joke, we don't want that.
yes. So it's very
You
much
know,
like
if it's a joke on what they were doing with Michael Myers in these Halloween movies, the recent ones, then okay. But if it's like legit, but Scream movies are never legit, are they really? Scream movies are always just
very much in
nudge,
on the joke
nudge.
of
You
yes,
know,
yes.
look at what we're doing.
So
We
yes,
might be actually scary, but really we're a comedy.
I mean, they actually wanted Michael Myers' costume to be seen in this trailer, but they couldn't
You
get the
can't get the
rights.
rights for that kind of thing.
Yeah,
No,
yes, I do think there's a Freddy
no.
Krueger in there though. So Wes, R.I.P. Wes.
Is there?
But I haven't seen it. I didn't see it, but somebody said that there was a Freddy Krueger in there or something.
I mean, it would make more sense. I mean, just because of Craven.
Yes, yes. So yeah, fun teaser, gave you just enough, and even more hyped for this movie now.
Yes, I think another fun teaser was actually a movie that why is this going to legitimately be so good? Like this movie's going to be great and it
I
has
mean,
really no right to be. It's gonna be hilarious. This is the Barbie movie.
yes,
Greta
the fact
Gerwig's Barbie movie with Margot
the
Robbie
and
is
Ryan
just
Gosling.
going to
The
be
fact
unbelievable, and it messes with my mind because why would a movie based on Barbie not be as trash bag as the Transformers movies?
the
Why
fact that
would it be treated so sincerely, hilariously as
yes,
this is being treated?
I mean, the fact that they mimic the opening of 2001: A Space Odyssey with this,
It's
it's
unbelievable.
so ridiculously fun, and it's really showing you that it's gonna do something really kind of innovative and smart with their humor and the comedy of it. We still don't even know what this plot truly is.
I don't
Um,
care.
and
If
yes,
it's
I
gonna
really don't
give me
care. The
stuff like
fact that you
that,
gave me this opening and we see her as like the iconic first Barbie in that iconic
yeah.
bathing suit with the stripes and just how identical she looks to that doll. Um, I'm sold. Like I don't need to know what this story is telling me, but that cast, just seeing how everything looks, her kind of overlooking this Barbie land with very much open concept houses because all of these like mansions obviously are super exposed and open because that's how you play with your dolls and that's
Yes,
how your doll houses
exactly.
look.
The
You're not
production design of it looks
so
phenomenal.
great. We got a little bit of Asimu, we got a little bit of Issa. So I'm like, how are they going to
Yes,
play into
yes,
this?
yes,
Are they
yes,
actually
yes.
dolls, different versions of Barbie and Ken? We
We
see,
know Ryan
Ryan.
Gosling is. Ryan
Yes.
Gosling is playing Ken. I mean,
Yes.
he just looks bizarre as well, doesn't he? I mean,
Yes.
at least Margot Robbie actually just physically kind of looks like a Barbie,
Yeah.
kind of anyway. It's absolutely nailed on casting, but she looks like she's going to have an absolute blast with it, just as much as she does with Harley. So
Yes. Yeah.
she just looks like she's going to have so much fun, winking all the time, having this kind of faux ditzy humor that you have got to assume she's going to have
Yes.
in this movie. But it's going to be played on, it's going to be satirical, it's going to be wink to the camera kind of stuff.
Yes. Yes.
And
I mean,
I'm
with that
here
opening,
for it
yes.
all.
With that 2001 opening, it's really kind of just taking you aback. Like, what is this movie trying to do? I'm so into it. Like,
I did see a
insane.
tweet actually as well from like the official like Stanley Kubrick account. Presumably it's like Stanley Kubrick estate.
Yeah.
That are really here for this as well.
Really?
They're
That's
just
so
like
fun.
here
my
for
gosh, I
it
love that.
being the
I
opening
love
of
that.
2001.
2001. That's awesome. Yeah, no, it looks like a
and
lot of fun.
Look, I like Greta Gerwig as a director anyway. I think she's great. I think her
Yeah.
movies have been Lady Bird and Little Women. You know, these were wonderful movies. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed these movies.
Great kind of female-centric stories as well.
And this
Without
is exactly what we're gonna get
having
here.
to kind of push this weird, like, you know, we talked Black Christmas 2019, this very kind of overly kind of like girl power-ish kind of agenda. Like it's very much just like women.
No, but it does those.
Women
It does that.
existing, being intelligent, and just being people in the world who, you know,
Yeah.
you know, it's not kind of some, you know, women have to be perfect at everything. Women are flawed, but they're still amazing, you know. And
Well, exactly.
she taps into that so well in her stories. So
she does, 100% she does, and in that way, they are more successful in that message than Black Christmas 29 could ever wish to be.
Yes, you don't have to make a woman perfect to sell that message that women are valid and women are beautiful and amazing and talented. You don't have to make them without any shred of a flaw, you know. They can be real people. Yes, just make women real people.
Surely
And that's
just
all you
makes
need to
sense.
do. And she's able to do that. So I'm really curious to see, you know, how this character is going to work, if it's going to be kind of this fish out of water kind of her kind of from this doll world going into a real world type situation. I know there's some kind of underlying thing with Will Ferrell as kind of like a toy manufacturer, so it's going to be a little bit kind of
No.
it's going to be
No.
it's going to
Why do
be
we have to ruin the entire movie?
no.
Oh, surely not.
Morgan, we did a whole series on Will Ferrell.
I don't care.
You've seen that he can pull it back. He's not this like ridiculous. He's not this ridiculous man-child elf that you know. He has range. Even in that Spirited movie, he was very much pulled back. He was very much doing not the most. He was very chill and casual in that movie. So I think he's kind of entered a phase in his acting where he's not being a ridiculous running around naked hairy man child and screaming things. So I feel like don't let that steer you away. It'll be okay. It might be very much a little bit like a Lego movie situation where, you know,
okay.
you know, that's where I kind of was getting the vibe when I heard he's kind of like a toy manufacturer. So, it's like this doll world and this real world exists simultaneously, and so I don't know if that's going to play into it. So I'm really just curious to see the story, but I don't need to know the story to be excited for this movie.
No,
so
this just looks. It does. It looks great. I am legitimately very excited. I think it's going to be absolutely hilarious and just the most fun.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it all. I really am. Every single little bit of it. And like you say, just the fact they riffed on the opening of 2001: A Space Odyssey with little baby dolls and the children, the ancient
just like in
children,
this dystopian
beating up the baby dolls like the ape beats up that bone.
Yes.
throwing it up in the air and it jump cutting and it's just perfect. It's just perfect. Now you have to assume as well that surely they have the song in there. I mean, I know it's not like Barbie's official song, but they have to, don't they?
Aqua's about to have a little bit of a resurgence, I think. I mean, there
They
might
have
be
to
some
have
kind
it.
of there might be
Aqua
some
never
like
left. I'd like
I
to point
know,
that out.
but I mean resurgence of this song. Um, if not Aqua doing it, it's gonna be some kind of Ariana Grande cover or
I don't want
something.
Ariana Grande. I like Ariana Grande, but I don't want Ariana Grande
She's an
doing it. I
official
want the proper one.
Manchesterian.
Exactly. But I've come to absolutely nothing against Ariana Grande. I love Ariana
But you know
Grande,
what I
but
mean. You know what I mean
I
by
do know
saying
what you
her. And
mean. But no, we want Aqua's
Aqua.
Barbie girl
Yes.
because the single catchiest song ever, apart from
Yes.
Aqua's other
That was all
song,
over my youth, that song.
which is Dr. Jones, which is the Indiana Jones rip-off one, which is arguably even better in terms of being catchy and ridiculous. Why not have it for what looks like the catchiest movie of next year? You know, I'm very excited for this.
Yes.
I legitimately am. I think it's going to be great. And I know that sounds a bit strange, but just watch this teaser if you haven't, please.
Yes. Well, it's
And
actually prompted.
you tell me that
Yes.
you're not excited for this.
Well, it's actually prompted one of my close friends to do a huge she's planning a now Barbie themed birthday party next summer and wants like everyone invited to come dressed as Barbies and Kens and it'll be either that weekend before the movie comes out because I think the weekend the movie does come out is Comic-Con weekend. So it might be kind of around the time the movie comes out and yeah, like people are hyped for this.
I would make a better Barbie than Ken. Actually.
I think you would make a pretty good Ken. I mean, we have our kind of
so.
our modern dolls, like we have, thicker Barbies with thicker body types, and we have Kens with man buns and beards. We had a shaving Ken where like he actually came with like a little razor and like
do you
if
have
you
a
go like
beard,
warm
Ken?
water and like you shave it and like it makes the beard come
surely
off,
not.
and cold water makes the like beard grow back. Like yeah.
That's ridiculous.
So I mean, they have bearded Kens.
Okay.
Yes.
Ryan Gosling isn't a bearded Ken though in this.
No, he's very smooth shaven, super blonde, uber tan, OG Ken. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, it's also not like Toy Story Ken, is it?
No,
like Toy Story Barbie
Michael
and
Keaton.
Ken. We don't look like that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, Barbie themed birthday parties. Sure, but you've got to have faith in your friends to be pretty.
Yes.
And all your guests to be pretty because and actually want to do it.
Yes.
Because
yeah, so I mean, I'm down.
Someone
to
like
dress
me,
like a Barbie doll.
Someone like me would not come dressed appropriately for that. I'd just come in dressed in what I would wear to a birthday party. Like, you were supposed to come as Ken. Well, I am this version of Ken.
Oh my gosh.
I'm Turtleneck Ken.
Really? Turtleneck Ken.
That would be
that's
me.
Not a thing, but I'm sure you would make
better
it a thing.
had be a thing. Why is that not a thing? How is Turtleneck Ken not a thing?
I don't
I'm going to make it a thing.
You should make it a thing.
Turtleneck Ken needs to be a thing.
Yes.
Anyway, should we get in to our big full review of the week, Jeannine?
I just do want to mention one thing. I know this was somebody that you weren't fully aware of or knew who this person was, but I just want to say rest in peace to Stephen Twitch Boss. He was
I did see this.
A huge person in the dance community. I was a avid watcher of the dance competition show, So You Think You Can Dance, and he was huge on that show. He was one of the best dancers. He was a hip hop dancer and like went really far in that show and had since like gained a lot of success. He was in Step Up movies. He was in a movie that I actually put in my top 10, Magic Mike XXL. He was great in that movie, just really amazing dancing. Um, and kind of, he married another dancer from So You Think You Can Dance, Allison Holker, and I think they had 3 kids. And went on to be a DJ on Ellen DeGeneres' talk show. And so, he was also like a judge on other dance shows and things like that, shows with J Lo and Derek Huff of Dancing with the Stars. And so, there was a huge community of just dancers and performers, and just like so many tributes for him from, like, some of the biggest names, because he was just such a like, he was always smiling, such a happy person, such a talented person. He was always doing like fun dancing TikToks with his wife Allison, who was also a dancer. And yeah, so just a really sad loss. And just kind of a very similar situation to, the Jason David Frank thing. And you just never know, he always seemed so
Yeah.
happy. And I've seen a lot of conversations about mental health, and in terms of like how Black men deal with mental health, it's like they kind of are at a high rate for being really quiet about kind of what they're going through, and having this idea that they can't really speak up about, you know their mental health and things that they're dealing with. So, yeah, I hope it can be something that people can, advocate for, you know, people going through these things, particularly Black men, to really not feel this shame in terms of kind of, you know, sharing what they're going through, or talking it out, or, you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
So really sad loss.
it's always tough in those situations. Now, unfortunately, seemingly he never really made it over to Britain in any. So I genuinely had never heard
Yeah.
of him at all.
Yeah,
But
like, if you
from
weren't
these
somebody
trip,
who watched Ellen, or, like, were big in, like, watching dance movies, or in the
yeah,
dance community or things like that, I wouldn't be surprised that you wouldn't know who he was. But in terms of kind of his sphere, he was one of the biggest names.
well, and this is proven by all these tributes that I have
Yeah,
seen, and this
yeah,
is proven by all these positive words that I have seen. But in terms of this conversation around speaking about your mental health, it's obviously it's easier said than done a lot of the time, isn't it?
yes, oh,
Because
yes, mhm.
it's very easy to say,
There's a huge
talk to
stigma around
somebody,
that. Yeah,
and there's a huge internal stigma around it. I
yeah,
think everybody wants everybody
to
to
feel
speak up
comfortable,
about their own,
yes,
but
but they have
they
their
never do
own.
inside.
Yeah,
And I deal with this kind of things. I'm sure you deal with these kind of
mhm,
things, and
yes,
most other people deal with these kind of things. Doing, wanting to do something and actually doing it, in terms of that, speaking up about your own well-being, are two
yeah,
very, very different things. And
yes,
this is where the difficulty comes in. And this is where it's always good to just treat people with kindness,
yes.
because you don't know what they're going through at
And
any
always
given
just,
point.
and check in with
So,
people if you can. Like, if there's a friend you
yeah,
feel like you haven't talked to in a long time, just kind of send them a hey, how you doing? And that could make the difference. Maybe they're literally in a zone where they feel like nobody cares about them, nobody's reached out to them, nobody wants them, nobody cares about them. And you just texting them, hey, I was thinking about you today. Hope you're doing okay. That could mean the difference of them, just on that day of them kind of having that bad thought or whatever. So,
could be
just
the
check
one
in with
smile
people.
someone has in a day, which is
Yes.
significant. That's a
Yeah, so,
massive
just
deal.
check in with people. And yeah, you never know what people are kind of going through. People can have the biggest smiles on their faces. Some of the people who are known to be some of the happiest people who seem to love making other people happy, were some of the most miserable, broken people,
Yeah,
who going
yeah.
through so much, inner turmoil and strife. So,
It's
um
it's it's almost reaching out and saying, "Please, return what I'm giving you to me," but you can't say it, or they can't say it,
yeah.
um, in those direct words, because it just doesn't compute in the
Yeah.
brain to say it in
Yes.
those direct words. So it's please just treat people with kindness. You don't know
Yes.
what they're going through, and just know that I mean, I'm always massively appreciative of people that just smile and say hello,
Yeah,
because sometimes it really does
make a
make
difference
the
sometimes.
difference in a
Yeah.
day. So I always try and bring positivity, even though I'm a grouchy person.
Yes, a little
I
bit.
always try and bring positivity to people,
Yes, you do.
um, because it's just
Easier.
it not only does it change it, or not only does it have the possibility to change somebody else's day, but from a selfish point of view, if you want to think of it from that, it makes you feel like a better person. So it makes you feel better about yourself as well.
Yes. Yeah,
If you're helping people, you're going to feel better about yourself if you know you're
exactly.
helping people,
Yeah.
and they're going to feel better. So it's a win-win situation,
Exactly, and it's so much easier to put positivity out there than negativity. To treat somebody
even though it's
kind than
funny.
to
Funny
treat somebody
sometimes too.
poorly. Sometimes you wanna be petty, and sometimes you wanna be angry, and sometimes that
You do.
feels good, and sometimes you feel like that's deserved. But, you know, sometimes you have to take a step back and think about, like, what people are going through. So, you know
That's not to say you can't like hate on things that
yes,
in like
that
a
are
joking fashion. Of
frustrating.
course, we
Yes,
like this. We
yes,
like hating on things that are frustrating. We like hating on things in a jokey fashion.
yes,
Um, but if you're being sincere, try and be as kind as possible.
exactly.
Or try and be as respectful, I suppose,
Yeah.
as possible.
So,
And that
RIP
can be hard.
to another amazing person that we lost this year, and, yeah,
Yeah,
so just wanted to
definitely.
mention him, and
Oh, absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into our full review for today, because this movie, Jeannine, is absolutely massive. Is it going to be as massive as its predecessor? Possibly.
I mean
Probably not.
when we do this
However,
show when we in doing the show, we typically have to kind of watch that week's release, the previous week's release, the week it comes out, right? So we can talk about it here on the show.
yes.
And there have been a lot of pretty big things, at least I thought were pretty big things, um, that I would go see on the Thursday or Friday of release. And I go online, I push my ticket, I go to find my seat, and the theater is pretty open, pretty
Yes,
blank,
exactly the same.
and it's like an evening time showing at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock on a Thursday or Friday. Still pretty a decent amount of seats available. Um, I went to buy my ticket for this movie in an IMAX theater, which is massive. Like I believe the seats go all the way up to like K, L, like in terms of letters.
Okay.
And um yeah, it was packed. I was squeezed in between two people in the very, very back row. Like
Oh.
not really any room to move. And I'm like, What? This is crazy."
Now,
So yeah.
look, obviously, we're talking about Avatar: The Way of Water,
Yes.
the 13-year awaited sequel to the highest
Yeah.
grossing movie ever, Avatar from 2009, which itself, let's not do discredit to Avatar, is a good movie.
It
Do
is.
I
It's
think it should have been the highest grossing movie ever? I don't think it's got the quality to be the highest grossing
No, I
movie
mean, the
ever.
story is very generic. So, I mean, the thing that it had going for it was this new innovation in filmmaking. That's kind of what made it, I
Yes.
think, as big as it was. It wasn't really the storytelling because it's a very, people constantly make the Dances with Wolves, Fern Gully kind of
Yes.
tease about the plot,
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas kind of tease of this plot. Um, so it's not an innovative story in any way at all, but it just kind of how it was able to kind of do something completely different and new in terms of motion capture, in terms of filmmaking, and just look so striking and the time that went into it, I think, is what made it
Yeah.
as big as it was.
And capture the 3D craze that was obviously more expensive to buy a ticket
Yes.
at the perfect time of in 2009. Now, I don't think people care as much about 3D these days.
No.
I don't think as many people are saying we have to go and watch this in 3D. Now, I might be wrong at that because I didn't think that. I simply went for a 2D screen
Okay.
because I did not. I don't really like 3D. If you're giving me a 3D movie, give me a gimmicky 3D movie from the 50s, like The Mad Magician with Vincent Price, where he's
The
squirting
Tingler.
water directly into the camera. Or House of Wax, where you get the guy with his ping pong ball thing, just you know,
Oh
whacking
my
it
gosh.
right into the camera lens, just so you know there's a 3D shot. Um, the immersion of I remember watching Avatar in 3D, and yes, the immersion of it's wonderful, isn't it? I don't know. There's something inherently I like distance. I like kind of I'm here, the movie's there, let's watch the movie. Let's not necessarily have some sort of existential experience.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with an existential experience, but I don't know. In my movie watching, I kind of tend to not prefer 3D.
Okay.
So I just went for a normal 2D screen for this movie. But
I saw it in IMAX 3D, so
oh, you probably have a more accurate to what James Cameron actually wants you to
you to see it
experience
and
from this
yeah.
movie then. What I'm just most baffled by, and let's call it what it is, I actually think Avatar: The Way of Water is a great movie. I think it's a really interesting story, actually. I think it's got way more interest to the story than the first movie had.
Yeah.
I think it's a really unbelievably wonderful reintroduction to the Na'vi, to Pandora, to all of it,
Yes.
given the fact it's been so long since the first movie,
Yeah, like,
that
I
it
had
just
to
kind of seamlessly gets you back in, and it's really impressive
Yes,
how it just lets you know exactly where you're at, exactly, you kind of get hints of remember
where we
this?
were.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And then once you get the little bit of remember this guy, yes, you're in. You don't need to have too much remember this guy, remember
Y
this person,
yeah,
remember
which I
her,
thought I
remember
was
him.
because I didn't have 3 hours to rewatch the first film, which I wanted to do, but I just didn't have time, and I was watching, like, a recap before I went into it, and I couldn't even finish the recap, so I'm like, "Ah, shoot, I'm gonna be so kind of lost in remembering kind of where we left off and how we got here and all of those things." But yeah, like you said, it was really kinda seamless to jump us back into this place with these characters. It felt like, okay, this is where they would be all these years later,
It's
having a
really
family of their
impressive.
own, them kind of being the leaders of kind of defending, their clan, um, raising this family, getting rid of the sky people because of kind of all the damage that they were causing in that last film and
Yeah.
kind of the
And they're
war that
still
happened.
trying, the
Yes, and the
Sky people, they're
Navi.
still trying to
Yes.
come.
Yes, and the Navi kind of um pretty much winning that big kind of battle between the two. So it would make sense that they're sending the sky people away. And so yeah, like it definitely got us into what we needed to know, even kind of showing us footage of, Sigourney Weaver in the lab and
Yes.
showing
Yeah.
Stephen Lang, as, his general and kind of explaining it to his avatar. So I like that they did it in kind of this
Or his
video
kind of
log.
clone avatar, isn't it? It's
Yes, like, before he was about to kinda go, I think, on that final mission, they, like, saved all his memories and did this kind of whole backup plan situation, um, to ensure that he would kind of live on in some way. So I like that,
yeah,
him doing this video log was the exposition for us. So I like that, when you can do exposition that way, so it's not completely clunky. He had a
yeah,
reason for kind of making that video because he needed to explain it to this avatar who's not going to understand what's going on, but it's also an explanation to us. So when you can do exposition and not have it be super clunky like that, and you can work it into the story somehow, that's the best way to do it. So I
it
appreciated
is.
that at
It's
least, the explanation to the character is also an explanation to us. So
it is really. it was really surprisingly well reintroduced, and I
Yeah.
felt that was very, very important. That was the most important thing for it to do,
Yeah.
and I think it did it really, really well. I just wanted to mention before we really start talking about this movie, just how kind of not confused, but I think people like Avatar more than I realize people ever liked
Yeah,
Avatar.
because like, I
And this
feel
is a
like
weird thing. This is a weird thing for me to say because it's the highest grossing movie ever. So of course,
yes,
like
but
loads of people went and seen it, and loads of people must like it. But this was 13 years ago.
yes, and you also feel like this underlining kind of people teasing it and mocking it and people kind of making fun of it and feeling like it's low key, like, uh, thinking it's better than it is, and like I feel this like underlying tone about these movies coming from
Maybe we're
people,
just in the
but
wrong
yet,
circle.
but yet, these movies are making the money. People are going out to
The,
see these movies,
these
so
screens are
yeah,
packed. There
yes,
was loads of screenings for this movie. Like, in my local cinema
yeah.
where I go, I had to go like, even mine was just absolutely ram-packed. The cinema itself was as busy as I've seen it in a
Yeah,
long time.
I literally was like, "I just want some nachos because this is gonna be like a 3.5 hour movie. I need some food, I need a drink," and, like, I
I
had
couldn't
gotten
even get a
there
cup of coffee because the queue was too long and I
so
would have
long.
missed the start of the
Yes,
movie.
and so I got there, like, I think maybe 10 minutes before the movie was gonna start. I was literally in line, like, for 20 minutes. Luckily, by the time I sat down, I still got, like, 2 MCU trailers, and
Oh, I didn't
then
get
the
a
movie
single
started.
trailer
Really?
because I was
When
queuing for
I
this
walked
coffee, and then I
in
just thought, this is going too long. I'm gonna have to just go."
Yeah, when I walked in, I think I got Ant-Man and I walked in on Guardians of the Galaxy, I sat down, it was Ant-Man, and then the movie started.
Okay. No, I
So,
I I walked in the last kind of cinema ad before the title of the movie
mhm,
comes up with the
yeah.
certification and you go in.
Yeah.
That's when I walked in and, so I was really kind of cutting it short there. But the place was packed.
Packed,
And
yeah.
this is clearly something that James Cameron's just been able to do for his entire career is somehow
Yeah.
not be not be a filmmaker that film or movie people view as the greatest, but be a filmmaker that the masses, the public, view as one of the best because he
Yes.
always just makes the most successful movies.
Yes. I
And he
mean, he's not
just
the king
seems
of the
to have
world,
this.
but he's the king of the
Yeah,
sequel.
he is. He just
Yeah.
seems to have this thing about him
Yeah.
that he's able to just make these movies. And yes, there's the intrigue of the technological advancement. And look, that's really the impressive thing about
Yes.
Avatar: The Way of Water is the totally new style of watching a movie that it actually visually is. I've never seen a movie that looked like Avatar: The Way of Water before.
Yeah.
In some negative ways, but in mostly incredibly positive ways. But what it is innovative. What it is different. It's
Mhm.
new. And that is what we've got to commend James Cameron and everybody else who's behind the making of this movie for doing,
Yes,
is
and I
making it
actually
look the way it looked from having
yes.
nothing tangible in the movie whatsoever because it's 95% totally CG
Yes.
or
And to
motion
create
capture.
to
There's
just build
barely
all
a
of this.
human face.
Yes, to build all this stuff from scratch, to have these kinds of characters, these motion capture characters who are also like scale wise different sizes from like the human characters,
Yeah.
and have them interact and work together and in this world that's totally not even there, and have it seem so fluid. I think um that's kind of what is the champion of these movies and what sells these movies over kind of any kind of story. But I will say with this one, with Way of Water, I actually did enjoy the story. They did have a
This
lot
is what I
of
was saying, yes.
it
I
did
think
branch
it's a
off
better
into
story than the first Avatar.
Yeah, it delved off. I think I've seen people kind of complain about it delving off into like way too many different plot threads. But I think if when you do that and you can make them all kind of work together and come together by the end, then I think that's successful. You can put as many plot threads you want in there, but if they can kind of come back in an interesting way, play into kind of our big finale, work with developing an arc for a character to kind of get them to where they need to be character wise by the end of the story, then put in as many plot points as you want. But if you have a bunch of plot points in there just to be clever and then none of them or most of them don't go anywhere, that's where it's kind of disappointing. But I think every kind of strand of a plot thread that they introduced us to in this film came back around by the end.
Yeah,
So
there
I think
was.
it worked.
Look, this wasn't even a movie that I was massively interested
Me
in going to
either. Me
see.
either. Me either.
And there was times when it actually felt like what we refer to as a Morgan movie that just lets you sit in a scene, in a situation for seemingly too long,
Yeah.
that seems to not really mean anything or
Yeah.
seems to not further anything of what's going on in the movie. It might mean something. It usually does mean something. These are the points. These are the character scenes. But you're sat in extended scenes of water training, swimming, bonding with fish creatures, and things like this that just seem to take ages. But these are my favourite parts of this movie. My
Yes, like, I
favourite
thought it was
parts of
gonna
this movie
drag
is when it
on.
feels the most like a nature documentary. It's
Yes.
phenomenal to
And those are
look
the
at.
scenes that looked the best too. Like,
They were. They were.
I got to see some of these clips at D23. I think James Cameron showed at least 8 to 10 of these clips. And he like put some curtains up, he gave us 3D glasses, lowered the lights, and we watched several scenes from this movie. And kind of all the scenes on land looked a little too smooth, like it had a smoothing effect on it. The movement was a little bit kind of gummy, a little bit kind of static, not naturally fluid, and looked very much like the weird zooms, very much like a video game cutscene. Um,
Now,
but when we got underwater, those scenes looked absolutely gorgeous. So when we were spending more time in this underwater world and we were even seeing creatures that seemed very relatable to kind of real undersea stuff, it felt very much like you said, kind of nature documentary, and it looked
yeah, there's
gorgeous.
there's
And the
whale-like
movement,
creatures.
yes,
There's whale-like creatures that are a massive part of this movie.
yes, the movement felt fluid, the movement felt realistic, how the hair moved and how people were kind of swimming around and moving their arms and legs and all of that, all felt very kind of real. So the underwater scenes, I already kind of, because of the clips from D23, I already kind of had this idea that the underwater scenes were gonna be way better than anything
Okay.
else. But yeah,
Yeah,
getting to see it was
I
absolutely gorgeous.
I completely agree. All the water, thankfully, the majority of the movie is kind of with our water tribe and in the water, surrounding the water. A lot of it's underwater,
Yeah.
and it really does look beautiful. And there is one, I don't want to even call it an issue. I guess it's a personal thing with me in watching this movie. Mainly the land stuff, but I mean the entire movie really. The the frame rate is just it's way too smooth for my preferred movie
Yeah.
watching. I like old movies. I like movies to be quite still and
Not
have
so
24
fluid. Yeah.
frames per second, please,
Yeah.
and all this kind of stuff. And this is such a smooth motion of everything that at times it feels like a simulator theme park ride. And at
Yes.
times when towards the beginning of the movie, when we're still in like the forest islands and all this kind of stuff before, you know, Jake and Neytiri and the family have gone to the water, there was times when it made me feel dizzy, when it made me feel quite ill, really, because it
Yeah.
was just kind of too smooth. It was giving me a bit of like, "Oh god, am I gonna struggle to
Yeah.
watch this movie?"
Yeah.
Thankfully, once you got to the water, it seemed to not
a lot more
do that to me.
smooth, yeah, more fluid in terms of kind of how things were moving, and underwater, like, it's not as kind of jarring as kind of in the air type stuff as well.
No, because I mean the camera, and I mean, I don't know. I'd be fascinated to learn how they actually, how James Cameron actually managed to film this movie.
Well, I
I've
mean,
never really understood how you film a movie like this that's not
yeah.
tangibly there.
Well, I think I saw Sigourney Weaver kind of doing an interview, and she was talking about basically, yeah, they like, film every kind of aspect of their movement. And then James Cameron is able to kind of put it in this computer or this system or this other camera, and he's able to kind of pick the angles. So he is not getting kind of organic angles of how it was shot. He's making up his own angles, making up his
Right.
own kind of directions of how things look, how we're seeing things. So he's manipulating even just the
So
the
he's
the
kind of
lighting and all of these.
post-directing.
Yes. So he's putting them in a position where he thinks
Okay.
they look best. He's creating these camera angles, himself. They're not like
Yeah,
organic camera angles. So I
this
think
is what I
that
mean.
probably plays into the the bit of kind of disorientation that maybe you were feeling.
Yes, I think it probably does. But
Because
this
these
is what
aren't
I mean in
natural
terms
camera
of
movements, you know?
this is this is what I mean in terms of James Cameron. You can't fault the guy because he's just doing things that nobody else tries, that nobody else wants to do. But
Yeah,
he's the only person that's
attempting these things, yeah.
attempting these things. He's the only person bold enough to attempt these things. And some of them will work and some of them won't. And God, I really do hope mainstream movies don't go the way of over smooth frame rates because it might mess with my head a little bit. I
Yeah.
really,
Yeah, a little too
I know I
much.
sound like the people now that says, "Oh, movie, we shouldn't have talking pictures. They'll never take off. Movies must be
Oh my
silent."
god. Oh,
I know I
man,
sound
Morgan.
like that.
Yeah, a little bit,
And
but
then
I
look
get I
what
get what you're
happened in
saying.
1927.
Yeah,
But I'm not discrediting the technological advancement. I'm just saying I don't want. I'm just saying it will mess with my head
yeah,
if we get too many movies that are clunkily done in this heightened frame rate, or this more frame rate, this not 24 FPS, which is a
yeah.
standard movie frame rate. Because it does feel like a theme park ride to me at times, and there's only so much simulator theme park rides I can take before I genuinely do feel ill.
Yeah.
So it's not good, and I imagine the 3D is probably even worse for people's
I
headaches and these
mean,
kind of
yeah,
things.
it got a little kind of blurry and in terms of just like how things were moving and
Yeah,
yeah, it got a little intense at times, and I think also where I was sitting was just not a good spot. It was
no, it doesn't
I was
sound
at the
particularly.
very, like, if I was kind of in the middle, like a few rows down, I think it would have been more direct, but I was at the very top back in the middle.
Yeah,
So I feel
yeah,
like I was kind of not at the right angle to get the shots kind of coming at me properly. So
which
that
is
was
a
a little
shame.
weird. Yeah.
Which is a shame,
It was a
but you
little bit
shouldn't have
off.
to be in. You shouldn't have
The
to be
right
in
spot to
the
get
right
the
spot.
full effect. Yeah.
No, which is again why I kind of 3D is a bit weird because if you're slightly off, it just seems like everything's over there and
Yeah.
nothing's here, and it's all a bit strange.
Yeah.
But I do think the movie is beautiful to look at. It's unbelievable to look at.
Yes.
It looks better than Avatar, the first one, looked visually. I think there's
Hmm.
more beautiful things. There's more impressive things to look
To
at.
look at. Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that they've decided to do this frame rate change because Avatar didn't. Avatar looked,
Yeah.
that had a regular frame rate, and that still looked great. I think
Yeah.
there's probably part of that in this movie, in The Way of Water, is a reason this movie looks a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I could I would almost rather look at still images and kind of quiet scenes. You know, there's no static camera in this movie either. The camera is never still, never,
No. Mm-mm.
never,
It's
ever,
always moving.
ever
Yeah.
just still. It's constantly moving. But I really do think it's a visually unbelievable movie. And I think
Yeah.
the story is
Yeah.
great. I think the
I
story's a
really
hell of a lot better than the first movie. I don't know how
yes.
necessarily spoilery you want to get, but I really it captivated me. I felt for the family. It's a family movie. It's a
Yes.
big picture theme movie.
And kind
And
of the
these are the
learning
kind
curve
of
and
things that I just like.
yes, and then getting to kind of see a different type of people, a different type of well, not avatars,
Yes.
but Navi. These water people who are kind of their bodies are adapted a little bit different than the ones we know. Their coloring is a little bit different, and kind of the learning curve that Jake's family is going to have to go through in order to kind of work with these people and uh, be a part of their kind of world. So yeah, I liked kind of this no pun intended fish out of water type situation in terms of
Yeah,
Jake's family kind
definitely.
of having to adapt to a new place and our villain, he's very much Stephen Lang is very good at playing your kind of mustache twirling villain, but I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with hating him, you know,
Yeah,
and
but it's Stephen Lang in Na'vi form. It's Stephen Lang's avatar, clone
yeah.
avatar. That's the
Mhm.
actual villain. It's not the same character technically
Yeah.
from the first movie. It's
But
his
he's
avatar
harboring with
clone.
these memories of the same kind of vengeance
Yes.
and coupling that with now kind of sky people and mankind back, they screwed themselves and depleted all their resources on Earth, and now they're like determined on, you know, very much the story that we got in the first film, removing these people who are from this place, from their homes, so that they can, terraform this place to Earth standards for now humans to come and live there
Yeah,
because they
it's
screwed
it's
up
gone
their own
even
circumstances. Yeah.
it's gone kind of one step further, really, hasn't it? In between, because there's been many years. I forget now how many years they actually say it's been technically in
Yeah, I
world
don't remember.
since the first movie, or the events of the first movie. But obviously, in that first movie, they were getting that mineral, weren't they? Trying to get that
Unobtainium
kind of
from underneath
yes.
their kind of life tree.
That's what they wanted in this movie. There's something they want that's very unobtainable. It's not unobtainium itself anymore,
It's a
but there's
place to
something that's
to call home now. The Earth is
but
destroyed.
yeah,
They have nowhere to go, and now they wanna turn
way
this
more
planet
so.
into their own kind of home and take it
Yes,
over.
way more so.
Yeah,
Way more so. The human beings are interested in habitating Pandora.
yeah.
And in order to do that, they have to remove the people that are already there. Doesn't this just sound like Dances with Wolves too?
Yes, and I mean, we
No,
also get some, we also get some, like, evil kind of poacher type situations
we
happening too
do.
in terms of the
Yes.
sea life.
I would like to make a point. I
Yes.
like how they made the one respectable person in that party of essentially whale hunters.
Oh,
I
Jermaine
like how that was
Clemens.
Jermaine Clement.
Yes, yeah, I liked him talking shit to that other guy.
Why was he also using an American accent when
Yes,
the
it was
other dude
very
was
weird.
using an Australian accent? So why
Yes.
can't you just
He
have
just
Jermaine using his
using his
normal
new
New Zealand accent? It doesn't make any sense.
Yes, it was very weird that he was very talking like I'm like a scientist and
It doesn't
yeah.
make any
It
sense.
felt
But
very
I
weird
was
seeing that
not
voice come out of him.
expecting to see Jermaine
Jermaine
Clement in this
Clements,
movie.
yes, yes, and he was talking very much like I'm an American, I'm a
The very
scientist.
few human faces you actually do see,
Yeah, it's
as
Jermaine.
well as Edie Falco from Sopranos.
Yes, yes.
She
She was
was
kind
in
of
there
like the
as
new
well.
general. Yeah,
Other
and
than that, everybody's Navi, really.
yeah, well, and then we
Notable.
have that
Oh,
spider
a spider,
character.
of course, yes.
Yes, yes.
Who is technically Stephen Lang's son that had to stay there because he was a baby, and you can't send babies back in
into the
cryo sleep.
cryo. Yeah, so he just kind
So
of
he's
was left
grown
there.
up. He's grown up with Navi. He's grown up
And
as a human. He's basically Tarzan.
Yes, and he's like, endeared himself to Jake's family, although Natiri's like, no, he's not one of mine, he's not my family, but the children love him.
Typical Natiri. She's
yes.
she's
Jake,
so distant.
Yes, Jake looks out for him as well, so he's kind of like impromptu like family member to them. So yeah, I liked kind of introducing that dynamic of this kind of like you said, Tarzan child, who through circumstances is now kind of allied with them, and getting to see kind of some returning characters, and also we did have some unanswered questions about some certain things. I think Sigourney Weaver is back in this film.
She is.
Yes, I don't think it's a
really
spoiler. I
the
think
same
these are
person.
things that have been revealed, but if you are worried about spoilers, she is the daughter of Sigourney Weaver's Avatar character. So somehow her body ended up with child somehow, and nobody really knows how it happened. So Jake and Natiri adopted that child as their own daughter. So it's like this unanswered question as to who impregnated her. And she also seems to have this kind of strong connection to Awa, their kind of spirit guide. So I don't know that we got too many answers in terms of those things.
We didn't know.
Yeah.
But look, there's going to be 87 more Avatar movies.
Yes, but it's like he needs to jump on it because, I guess with motion capture, I mean, I guess you can kind of not really, it doesn't matter how old you are, but I'm sure, another 13 years from now, Zoe Saldana and, Sam Worthington aren't gonna be in the same kind of shape or,
I'm surprised Sam Worthington's still in any kind of shape, to be perfectly honest with you.
I mean, he was literally, there was a moment in time of like, Sam Worthington, stop trying to make Sam Worthington happen. He's not going to happen. It was like him.
And then he didn't happen, and now he's back.
It was like him and Taylor Kitsch, and it was like this whole thing of like trying to make them a thing. And it didn't quite work out. But yeah, I mean, he'll always have these movies to kind of.
He will, and he does now. And
even if I didn't have this epic career, I'm in like the biggest movie ever made.
I bet he's so thankful.
I am the lead of the biggest movie ever made,
and he will always have that.
Yes.
He will always have.
I mean, where has Sam Worthington been? Sam Worthington never has to work another day in his life, considering probably what money he's getting from. How big these movies are. I mean, I hope in his contract it was like, it is a royalty situation. I hope he, signed for a royalties type situation because he will never have to work another day in his career. And maybe that's probably why we've never seen him, because he's just living it up. This Avatar money.
He is working because he's back, and he's
back and he was great. And he was great. And like, I think in the starts of his career, like I don't think he was that good, but I think he has really become like a solid actor, and especially kind of everything you have to do and emote in this kind of setting. Like you are not, you have to use your face and you have to use your body to convey these emotions through this kind of CGI face. And he sells that. He sells and having to be this father of this family and this leader and kind of having to adapt and all the things he has to do. I think he pulls it off really well. He feels like, the true leader of this family, a great partner to Natiri, a father who is involved in what's going on with his kids. He also does kind of have that contentious relationship with his youngest son, and
he does.
So that's kind of a parenting situation that we've seen before in film. So I liked that we got, he's not perfect by any means. He's, so I liked that we got to see kind of some fatherly flaws on his end in terms of kind of, what he had to do as a character. So yeah, he had a lot to do, and I think he was great in this movie. I feel like Natiri was kind of sidelined a little bit. Like she didn't really have
a touch
as much to do. But I think considering the focus they were kind of leaning towards, the focus was more on the kids. The focus was more on which I think was great. Like, we already know, Jake and Neytiri. We know them. So let's get to know these new characters. Let's spend some time with them so that when, things happen, we feel something. So I like that
And
they
we
made kind of the
do
kids.
feel something when
Yes.
things do happen.
Yeah. So I like that they made these new characters and the kids the focus, so that we could kind of get to know them and care about them. And um yeah, so I liked the performances, and like you saw kind of what these actors had to kind of put into these roles. Again, Sigourney Weaver in this interview talking about how, it's the like acting in its purest form because of all these things you have to do and imagine are there, and you have to kind of build this whole world on this like blank stage, and sell
Yeah,
it. So it's definitely a big feat in terms of the craft of acting, and I think everyone does an amazing job.
I really do think it's a really
Yes.
surprisingly good movie. More enjoyable than I originally thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
But just be aware of the frame rate because there is times it does genuinely look like a video game. And like you
Yes.
mentioned briefly before, there's a lot of kind of these quick moving zooms that
Yeah.
you'll notice it if you're looking
That
for
you
it.
see that in a video game.
If you're not looking for it, you'll still notice it. But if you're looking
Yeah.
for it, you'll
You'll
definitely notice
definitely
it.
see it. Yeah.
It's kind of surprisingly constant and it looks so video gamey.
Yeah, it does. It does.
And
There are some.
I don't love that. I don't love
No,
that.
because it's
But
like
I do
you're
like this
banking on
movie.
this innovation, and so when you have scenes that feel very much like the best of video game cutscenes,
Yeah.
it feels a little like, but I mean, overall, it looked beautiful. The underwater stuff was great. Even the moments, like you said, are kind of still quieter moments of the Sully family kind of learning to adapt to this underwater world. Those scenes could have been really boring, but you really kind of interested in them
The
learning
best scenes
and
in the
connecting
movie.
with these other people. There's scenes of kind of all these big kind of whale like creatures that are kind of very much familial creatures to the water people, and like seeing them
Yeah.
swimming and interacting, like those scenes could have been really boring, but you were actually really invested in all of that and you really were kind of going on this journey, and there were so many beautiful things to look at that those slower moments didn't feel boring. So I liked that as well. I liked this story, like that it still kind of had ties to the original kind of seemingly regurgitated story, but also kind of, took went its own way with it, the way of water.
It
And
did. Look, it did.
it
I
lived up
mean,
to that title and it looked great. So
I think the biggest compliment we could pay is that we could genuinely talk about that movie for another hour.
yeah.
We can't. We have other things we want to do
Me
with
too.
today's show.
I mean,
But
this movie
I
was
think
very
that's a
long, so
massive compliment to pay about a movie that neither of us were really that excited to see.
yeah, agreed.
Um, I do honestly think it's a wonderful movie. It's striking, really, how time and effort when someone with the brain of James Cameron is given time pays off
Yeah.
rather than rushing people a
Yeah,
la Marvel,
it felt worth the all of DC.
a la DC, a la Marvel, when it has seemingly become less able to pay off all the time.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Yeah.
You'll
I
get a
think
better product.
it was worth all the time that he put into this, I think. It
And
paid
even
off.
look what a very, very similar movie that came out earlier this year did. Top Gun Maverick. Took
Yeah.
loads and loads and loads of time.
Yeah.
Delayed after delayed. Let's get it right. Let's get it perfect. Let's get it right. And
Yeah.
look at what happened when it came out. It
Yeah.
nailed the damn thing.
Yes.
Time
Patience.
makes
Yeah.
a more perfect product
Patience
than
as well.
rushing on a factory line.
Yeah.
So there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Avatar: The Way of Water. There's your big Christmas release.
Woot
Which it
woot.
is. It's the big Christmas release, isn't it?
Yeah. Smart timing
Everybody will
as
be going to
well,
see it
Mr.
at Christmas.
Cameron.
Wonderfully smart timing. God, I'm intrigued to see how much it's going to do.
Yeah, me too.
I really am.
Yes.
I'll be baffled if it goes close, but I won't be surprised if it's fairly up there.
Yeah.
I'm talking, maybe $1.5 billion. I would not be surprised.
Yeah. Yes.
I would not be surprised, which is mad, especially when a lot of people still aren't going to cinemas like they were 4 years ago, say.
Yeah. Or even 13
But
years
yes,
ago.
or certainly 13 years ago.
Yes.
Certainly 13 years
And
ago.
I mean, considering, today, I'm sure the first weekend's numbers are out, but at the time of recording the show, we do not have those numbers. So.
Yes, we do not. Well, there we go, Jeannine. Let us get into our full festive celebrations then, for maybe the last 45 minutes of the show, let's say. Because we do have in our Let's Talk, we just wanted to have a chill out now. We wanted to talk about some of our favourite Christmas movies, favourite Christmas songs. I'm a big fan of Christmas music. I really am. Say what you want. People hate it. Some people really don't like Christmas songs. There's been Christmas songs playing at work over the speakers.
Oh, same.
And
Yeah.
some people have just been, turn this off. This is her. And I'm there singing every word of all of them. It's great.
Oh my goodness. I'm
I
not a
love
huge
them.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of like Christmas songs. But
Right.
I in this time of year, like I'm happy to have them on in the background. So like I share an office with two other girls. I've made a point to like be the resident decorator of our office during holiday times. So, we've decorated our office for Christmas. Like we have a little tree, we have lights. And one of the girls, she's kind of the resident DJ, so she was always picking the playlist. So we've like stumbled upon some like crazy Christmas playlists. We found like this hip hop one that was playing like
No.
Merry effing Christmas and
No, we don't
a
want
Christmas
this.
Christmas song by like the Quad City DJs, which basically sounds like every other song they've done. Like if you don't think you know who the Quad City DJs are, you know who the Quad City DJs are.
Okay.
If you've heard that song, come on, ride that train and ride it. Woo, woo, come on, ride that train.
Okay.
And like all their songs sound like that. I think they did the song from Space Jam. Everybody get up. It's time to slam now.
Okay.
Yes. So this is their Christmas song, which is
No, we
basically
don't
that
want
same
this.
beat, but it's like like a Christmas party and things you want for Christmas. There was literally a line in there that we were cracking up at that was like chips and dips, baby. We were just like,
Oh dear,
so
stop it.
all day we were just like chips and dips, baby.
This is horrendous.
So yes,
Stop
but yes, like she'll
ruining
go
Christmas
on
songs for me.
she'll go on Spotify and just like pick like random playlists. So we typically listen to, your traditional stuff, but she's found like some pop Christmas playlists just to kind of change it up so we're not listening to the same kind of things all the time. So I've had fun with kind of just playing fun Christmas music in the background in terms of like our office and working.
Well,
I
I have
typically
my
only
own Christmas playlist. I've been
I
playing it in the car and really blasting it out.
I'm
I
more
found a
about
new
the
Christmas song
Halloween.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Halloween, yes, but I did find a new, not new one. I did find it myself, and I'm surprised actually that I didn't know about this song actually, because Marvin Gaye did a
Okay.
couple of Christmas songs.
What?
Marvin Gaye
I
did a
don't
couple
think
of
I knew
Christmas
that.
songs, and I've discovered one this year that's really good. Now, let me just get the proper name of it up.
Okay.
So there's one, I should say, there's one called Purple Snowflakes by Marvin Gaye, which
Oh
is a
my
good
gosh.
song.
Yes, and that's a
A
perfect
good,
Morgan song for
it
Mr.
kind of
Purple
is,
over here,
right?
Morgan. Yeah.
But I Want to Come Home for Christmas by Marvin Gaye is a beautiful Christmas
Oh my
song.
gosh. Okay.
And it's definitely like a new favourite one for me. How I didn't know that Marvin... I love
Yes.
Marvin Gaye. I love Christmas songs. How I didn't know that
Yeah,
he
no,
did
this
a
is
couple of
news to
them.
me. This is news to me. I think everyone was obligated at some point in their musical career to do a Christmas song. Because yes, in listening to these ridiculous Spotify playlists at work, we're hearing Christmas songs from people we never even knew made Christmas songs. So,
Yeah, there's
yeah,
one from Prince. I saw a Prince Christmas song. I didn't really like the sound of it, I'll be honest with you. So, and I usually do like Prince. I quite like Prince.
yeah,
But no, I Want to Come Home for Christmas by Marvin Gaye. Please listen to that.
okay,
I mean, I'm someone who, when it comes to Christmas music, does listen to
the
croony and
classics.
jazzy type
Yes.
Christmas music.
I'm
But
dreaming
yes,
of
but
a
I like the Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong Christmas album. That's really good.
Oh, okay.
Because you get like stuff like Louis Armstrong singing "Cool Yule," which is
Oh,
a good song from Louis Armstrong. You'll
okay.
know that. Let me try and. I can't try and sing it because I can't do a good impression of Louis Armstrong, really. But Ella Fitzgerald, I think, has got a beautiful voice anyway.
Yes. Okay.
They did quite a few albums together, or certainly at least a couple, certainly a normal one and then like a Christmas one.
Yeah.
Because their version of Cheek to Cheek, actually, Fred Astaire,
Yeah.
Heaven, I'm in Love.
Heaven,
That
heaven,
there
heaven.
that the best version is by them too.
Yeah.
But they have this wonderful Christmas album, and Ella Fitzgerald's voice is just brilliant, and it's all the very, very kind of traditional ones: Frosty the Snowman's,
Oh
Winter
yeah.
Wonderlands, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's the voice; it's all in the voice, and this is what I like about the Christmas songs that I listen to, because they're all the same stuff. But
Yeah.
it's who is singing them. It's your Bing Crosbys, your Sinatras, your Dean Martin, your Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrongs.
Yeah.
Even Marvin Gaye. It's all about the voice itself,
Okay.
and that's what makes me feel particularly Christmassy. But I have
Well, I
certain
mean,
favourite ones of all those kind of
okay, like
very, very traditional
versions.
Christmas songs.
Yes. Yeah. I
Yeah.
um I find myself listening to quite a few scores as well during holiday time. I think
Oh yeah.
John Williams and Danny Elfman are like all
Yeah.
up in there, you know. The Home Alone score is really
Home
great.
Alone score is great.
Harry Potter, you know, we've talked about the
Yes.
non-Christmas vibe of Harry Potter. Um
The
uh,
Carol of the Bells from that
y-
obviously is very famously in Home Alone,
yes.
but it's obviously way
Yes,
older
love
than
that.
Home Alone.
Yes. Um, I really love the score from, you know, Batman Returns, like that whole kind of,
Oh yeah,
yeah, very
yeah.
much feeling like, you know, dark Christmas, which I absolutely love. Edward Scissorhands very much feels Christmassy as well. Um, so yeah, there's some great scores to kind of put on as well during Christmas time. I mean, there's one album that I will listen to pretty much on a loop at Christmas time, and that is the NSYNC Christmas
Oh, what a
album.
surprise! Look, here's
I
me
mean,
going for Ella Fitzgerald, Louis Armstrong, and
and
maybe a
I'm
bit
just
of
like, and
Motown Christmas.
and I'm just like,
And
and sing, yeah. But I mean, it's actually a solid Christmas album. You think it's going to be a bunch of cheesy pop, which you have a couple
yes, I
tracks on
do.
there, but you get some nice R&B songs, like songs with a really cool R&B vibe, some great harmonies. You get some acapella numbers. They do a beautiful uh, uh, uh "Oh Holy Night" that is completely
Okay.
a cappella. So there's some range. They have a New Year's song on there. So yes,
Ella
I love.
Fitzgerald also has a good New Year's song, actually. I've got my playlist up here actually, just to on my phone. What are you doing? What are you doing New Year's Eve by Ella Fitzgerald?
Oh,
Beautiful song.
okay. Um,
Beautiful song. Quite a
Preacher's
slow
Wife,
song, a really
Whitney's.
romantic kind of song.
Yes, Whitney's songs at Christmas. Whitney has some great Christmas songs. Whitney Houston, songs from Preacher's Wife, definitely,
Oh yes, of
great. I
course.
actually heard a version of her. I want to say it's her version of that "Do You Hear What I Hear" song, and Um,
Do you hear what I hear? That one.
yes, her version is great, but I want to say it's that song, but I can't remember. And that a cappella group Pentatonics, they actually do like the backing because they're an a cappella group.
Okay.
They do all the backing and it's her vocal. Because I was like, I heard the Pentatonics, I thought it was like this Pentatonics version, and like, but it sounded like Whitney. But they took her audio of singing the song and they did all the backing, like music
Okay.
vocals for it. So
Okay.
it's a really good kind of mashup. Um, Kelly Clarkson has some great Christmas music. I think she has a really great Christmas song out with Ariana, which is like their voices are just like insane together. So
See,
yeah, she's
the issue we have here, Janine, and this will get into some of our fun later that we're going to have, is
yes.
that here we have significant differences in just the type of Christmas music we're listening to. I'm
But it's like
here, you're here going, oh, I listen to this a cappella and Whitney Houston version of Do You Hear What I Hear? I'm the one with Bing Crosby's version on my playlist.
yes. Well, see, the difference is probably I'm open to like listening to the older croony versions. You probably have no interest in even opening your mind to my lighter poppy fare.
I like some silly Christmas songs as well.
I mean, have you listened to
Um,
any of Whitney's Christmas stuff? It's great.
I haven't. Do you know what? I haven't. I
You
haven't
should. You
actually.
should.
I've watched The Preacher's Wife, and let's not forget, actually, while we're on the topic, we'll mention a few of our favorite Christmas movies as well. Let's not forget how good uh, Christmas movies The Bishop's Wife and The Preacher's Wife are.
Yes, I mean, and I just praise the preacher's wife, which like no pun intended, praise the preacher's wife.
Praise
Um,
the preacher's wife.
yes,
We praise
for
the
being
preacher and the preacher's wife. We
for
praise both of
literally
them.
being probably the only romantic comedy that Denzel Washington has ever done.
Yes. Very romantic in that movie is Denzel Washington. It's
Yes,
very
he's like,
unusual.
haplessly like cheery and in love with this woman that he can't be with. Um, yes, and he has to be this Cary Grant. Like, can you picture
He
Denzel ever
does.
being a Cary Grant?
He pulls it off,
No.
though.
And so I just love it for like such a diverse career this man has had, and this is literally his one movie like this. He's never done
Yeah.
anything else like this in his whole career, and I
Yeah.
just love that movie for that.
I think that's why it's so very well revered
Yes.
as a remake, because it is. I really like I really like both of them. I really like The
Yes.
Bishop's Wife and I really like The Preacher's Wife. I mean, things that people don't even necessarily think about straight away when you think of Christmas movies. I mean, it's easy to say, let's go and watch all 400 versions of A Christmas Carol, because there is wonderful ones,
So
obviously.
many. But yes, do yourself a favor and just do some of these kinds of like old to new things with,
Do the shop around the corner.
shopping around the corner and You've Got Mail. Those movies are really cute, and
Yeah.
I love kind of the modern, which now You've Got Mail is not as
You've Got
modern
Mail.
anymore.
You've Got Mail is more dated than the
It's
shop
like
around the corner.
dial-up. I mean, you
It-
have dial-up internet. And You've Got Mail. That's supposed to be the more innovative, like new tech version.
Literally, the shop around the corner, it feels more modern than You've Got Mail does. And the shop around the corner is from 1940.
Yes.
But watch a couple of these movies that we've covered on the main show
Yeah, for
already.
Deja Views.
Watch
Yeah.
The Holly and the Ivy.
Oh yes, that was
Even it's a
great.
great movie that you don't hear about because everybody's watching the namesake of the show, of course. It's a Wonderful Life, which is okay. It's one of my very favorite movies. It's one of the
Yeah.
movies that I hold the dearest, because not only did I give this show, the name based around that movie,
Yes.
but I watched it for the first time at a very tough mental point for me, and it helped me out
Oh,
enormously.
that's awesome. Yeah.
When I watched that for the first time, it always has that effect on me when I go back and watch it. I've always said I can only watch it once a year because it's just too effective for me, because I always remember
Yeah.
what I was like when I first watched it
But it's a really
and
hard
how that
story.
changed me at that point. And it's a tough, it's a
hard story. It's about,
horrible.
and it's not inherently like a Christmas. It's one of those movies that is not like it has like a big kind of Christmas scene
It
at
is,
the
though.
end.
It's a Christmas movie.
But I'm saying it literally only has this Christmas moment at the end, and the rest of it is not really about Christmas. Um, but
No, it's not.
because of the messages of it, and you have kind of an angel figure, of course, that's gonna give it that essence. But it's literally about a man who's given up his dreams, and is kind of
Yeah,
because he's such
giving
a
up
good
on
person.
himself.
Yeah, because he's such a good person, he puts everyone before himself, and he starts to kind of resent people and resent himself, and how that can break you down when you don't, you know, do when you don't feel that little bit of selfish urge to kind of do for yourself, and
Yeah,
you just do for everyone else, and you kind of lose yourself. um
yeah,
so I think that's a really kind of relatable message, and inherently, because this movie has going to been held up as this kind of classic Christmas movie, you forget that's kind of what that movie is really about. you know
you can do sometimes. You can do, but
But I totally get that. I mean, the first time I watched it, I made sure, like, there was a screening on the big screen, and so I made sure I went and saw it, and so the first time I actually got to see this movie was on a big screen, and I absolutely loved it. So
yeah, it's one of the few older movies I have gone to see in the cinema.
yeah, so they
Um,
do kind of like to replay it during holiday time. So yeah, always look out for a screening in December of It's a Wonderful Life, because it's great on the big screen.
it is. It's just it's one of the movies that has affected me the most
Yeah.
personally in my movie watching life, and that's why this, everything we do on this channel, on this show, on this podcast feed is it's a wonderful. It's a wonderful
Yes.
podcast, but it's all based around
Based
my
around that.
fondness
Yes.
and admiration for
I mean,
what that what that movie did for me, and what starting this show has done for me.
yeah,
Um, they go hand in hand in
I
that
love
sense. So
that.
I
Yes.
can't speak highly enough of It's a Wonderful Life, and it's also my nan's favorite movie as well, which is
Oh,
just lovely,
that's so
isn't it?
nice. That's so nice. I
Um,
do have some specific movies I watch every year. Particularly on Christmas Day. I love watching The
no, okay,
Holiday. I
no,
remember
okay,
sharing The
yes, The
Holiday
Holiday, a
with you.
great movie,
Like,
yes.
we didn't cover it for the shows, it was just kind of me, and we were in kind of this point where I was just sharing movies with you, and we were watching movies, and I showed you The Holiday, and you were just like, "This is such, like, a delight." Like,
It
"This
was
is
a
rather
lovely
lovely."
movie.
Yes, and,
It
so
really
I
is.
yes, it's such a sweet movie, and, having Jack Black kind of be this female gaze character, like, not your conventionally kind of handsome guy, but, like, you are so attracted to him in that movie because he's just so sweet and attentive and funny, and a movie able to do that, and like, because movies don't do that. Movies don't show your a guy like this and make him a romantic. Nobody is making Jack Black a romantic lead.
But he can do it.
But he can do it, and he was great. And so I love that movie. I love kind of the premise of it is really sweet, and uh yeah, it's just so delightful, how
It
kind of the
really
whole story
is.
comes together. So I love watching that every year on Christmas Day. I actually love watching a really corny TV movie. I don't know how I stumbled upon this one day,
Oh dear.
but it's like a TV movie called, and I think I can only find it like streaming on YouTube. And it's called The Christmas List. It's with Mimi Rogers. Um, and
Okay.
yes, and basically she's this woman. She works behind a perfume counter. She's known as the nose because she can like pick the perfect scent for anybody. She just asks you a couple questions and she can find like the perfect like fragrance for you.
No, I
So
thought she'd come into the movie with a large false prosthetic nose on,
yes, no, no, no. Well, that would have been interesting. That would have been
Cyrano de
interesting.
Bergerac, and it's just
Yeah.
like I'm all the
No.
way out here.
Like Roxanne. No. Definitely not like that. But yeah, so she works, in a department store. She's been in this long engagement with this really boring guy, and like she like wants to like get married already, but he has like this 5-year plan for them. So,
Oh, I see.
that kind of guy. So nothing's really happening in her career, nothing's really happening in her relationships. And then, her friend kind of convinces her, why don't you just write a little Christmas list for yourself? You don't have to get those things, just write it down. So she actually writes a list of things she wants, like better job, better clothes, an engagement ring, all these different things, right? and her friend like sees her list and she's like, I'm gonna put it in Santa's like wish box. Like there's like a Santa Claus at the mall where she works, and he has like a little box where you can put your Christmas list in there. So she puts her friend like grabs her list from her, and they have this little run through the mall, and her friend puts her list in Santa's box, and then somehow the things that are on her list start actually coming true, and she starts getting them
Okay.
in like these weird ways. And it is a bit of a like a monkey's paw where things also don't quite work out. Like she says she wants a new job, and she ends up like messing something up, and she gets a new job, but she gets kind of demoted to like this stocking job, like, stocking supplies
Okay.
because she like messed up at work. So it's a new job, but it's not a new good job. Um, so yeah, somehow things kind of, so some things work out great in weird, unexpected ways, but other things kind of work out like monkey's paw. So it's like, when she starts seeing things working out, she starts like making more lists and putting them in Santa's box and getting those things. And so it's kind of this fun story of very much like a Hallmarky vibe as well. Cause then, she befriends this young boy, and then of course the boy has his dad, and now
I
kind of
see. Yes.
yes. So
Yes.
it
We know
yeah,
what's going on
you know
here.
how that goes. Her boyfriend is boring and treats her like crap.
Yes.
So, she starts befriending the boy and his single dad who's attractive, and so and I'm all about stupid shit like that. So
Probably
yes.
wearing plaid shirts with rolled up sleeves, carrying an axe of some sort.
No, no, no. He's like, I think he's like a lawyer. So he's like a
Oh, a
businessman.
lawyer, yes. So he's all nice and
Yeah, he's some
suited
kind
and
of like
slick.
business guy. Yes.
Yes,
So
okay.
yeah, it's very much
Like a
this really
country guy.
ridiculous, cute, Hallmark kind of movie, The Christmas List. So if you can find it
Okay.
on YouTube, I love watching it every year on
Okay.
Christmas. It's one of my favorites.
I don't
So
necessarily, I don't necessarily watch a movie on Christmas Day.
really,
I don't really do that. I feel like I'm doing other things on Christmas Day. I like to kind of play games really on Christmas Day.
okay,
It's very rare that, incredibly rare, that my family will sit down and like play a board game or something like that. But it's kind of more likely to happen on Christmas
that's
Day than
nice.
any
No,
other
that's
time.
nice. See, my Christmas
Um,
situation is like everyone in it is my family's a nurse. So we have to pick a day that's not Christmas when everyone's free to
yeah,
do Christmas. So we typically end up doing our Christmas on not Christmas Day. So then Christmas Day is like not really a family day. It's just kind of being at home, opening the presents, watching a movie. So yeah, we'll watch. Our kind of thing is watching Die Hard, and I found this
yeah,
cocktail that I love making every year called the Nakatomi Tower. It's like this really tall glass, so it's like Nakatomi Tower. It's like cranberry juice, sake, blush champagne, peat, and then like so you put all your kind of mixes in there. You rim it with like sugar, so it has like and it's the cranberry juice, so it's red with your like kind of white rim, and then you take a shot of peach schnapps because peach schnapps is German,
yes.
and you drop it into the drink like you're dropping your German off the building.
Oh, good.
So, and it's actually
As
a
long as
really
it's
tasty drink.
nice.
Yes,
Yes.
it's a really tasty drink. So I make my Nakatomi Tower cocktails and watch Die Hard. That's kind of the
No, no,
major like
we
Christmas
like
day.
watching Die Hard. We like
Yes,
watching Die Hard
yes,
around Christmas. We like watching the Home Alones around Christmas,
yes,
of
yes.
course.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, how do you feel about the Rankin Bass stuff?
I'm not a fan of the
Because I'm
Rankin
not
Bass.
massively into it either.
No, I mean Bing Crosby's and Rankin Bass. You don't like that?
Give me Bing Crosby.
You
Happy
don't
with
like
White
Rankin Bing?
Christmas.
You don't like Rankin Bing?
Rankin Bing.
Like his little
Just give me
animated version?
No, 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 just give me the Bing Crosby songs. Just give me him
Okay.
singing.
Yes, no, I'm not a fan of Rankin Bass. Or even like this Frosty the Snowman, Happy Birthday cartoon. Like I remember being into
Oh,
that as a kid.
yeah.
Yes. The cartoons I watch on Christmas, I remember me and my brother had this like VHS tape. It had a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on it, and it just said Christmas. And it like so we're like, let's watch Christmas. And so we put this VHS tape in, and it was the series of just like old cartoons. Like
Okay.
that were Christmas themed. So there was like one of like a little boy and a little girl, and they're all poor, and their mom looks like olive oil, and like they go to bed and their blanket has all these holes in it, and all they have for dinner is like some old bread, and they're all poor, and they're like they walk past like a butcher shop, and the butcher's like, oh hi, and then like all these different like shopkeepers see these kids going home to their poor house and feel bad for them, so they all get together and go and try to make a nice Christmas for these kids. But the kids like they go to bed and they go to Dreamland, and we see them in Dreamland, and they're singing this Dreamland song, and then
Okay.
the next morning they wake up and like the butcher and the baker and I guess the candlestick maker, I
The
don't know, but
candlestick maker's
yeah,
there as
they
well.
they show up at the house and they brought them like all kinds of food and stuff and gave the kids a nice little Christmas. Or there's like this old man, he's like just some old scientist guy, and he sees all these kids in an orphanage, and he like they get some toys, but they're like poor toys. So the toys just break and the kids are all sad. So then he like goes and just gets all these household items and like makes all these toys for the kids. And so it's like super cute. So it's like this
Okay.
series of just like random just old-timey like cartoons that me and my
Oh,
brother
I
would just
like
put in
that.
this
I
tape
love
and just
that.
watch these cartoons. Yes, yes.
I love stuff like that. I remember I had an old Disney VHS of like Christmas sing-along kind of thing. And it
Yeah.
was Christmas songs set
But it has a
to
little yeah.
kind of random bits of Disney animation, or sometimes like theme park footage,
Oh,
or
wow,
just
okay.
things like this. But it'd
Yeah,
have
but
your
it had the
little
songs
Mickey
over it with the
ears
bouncy ball and
dance
like or
with the bouncing Mickey ears
Mickey.
thing.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah,
Some of them were like staged. So I
yeah.
remember there was the "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" was a bunch of people in like Victorian dress
Oh, yeah.
just singing
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of them were set to things, like Mickey's Christmas Carol
Yeah.
and other random various Disney Christmas animated related things.
Yeah.
Um, but I always I always remember putting that on like way too early in the year, like October the 20th.
What?
I'd just be like, yeah,
It's Christmas.
Disney Christmas.
Yeah.
Which is a very inappropriate time to be watching something
Yeah, I
like
think
that.
so, but,
But it,
you
it,
just wanna
it
get
was
in the
where
spirit.
I actually I really like the song Sleigh Ride. The just hear those sleigh bells jingling, ring ting ting. I really like that.
Ding-a-ling-do. Yeah.
And that VHS had a really good version of that on. That I think who sung it? Donald Duck actually sung a little part of it, so that was obviously horrible because it's just like squacky and quacky. But Ella Fitzgerald has a really good version of Sleigh Ride, actually, as do the Ronettes. The Ronettes
Oh,
from Motown, they have a really good version of Sleigh
really?
Ride.
Oh,
And
nice.
Frosty the Snowman.
Okay.
They have a really good
I
Frosty the
think I've
Snowman
heard
as well.
yes, I think I've heard their version, yeah. Yes, I've heard it in several movies. I think I've
The
heard their version.
Jackson 5 as well, actually. They've got a good I Saw
Yes.
Mummy Kissing Santa Claus and Santa
Oh,
Claus is
yeah.
Coming to
Kissing,
Town. They've got
kissing Santa Claus. Yeah.
Yes, they've got
I like their little
great
in
ones of
between
them
bits.
too.
No, well, so like I think I was set to be like the DJ for like family Christmas one year. And so I just downloaded a bunch of like Christmas albums. So like if I just try to put my phone on shuffle, like I'll just randomly get Christmas songs in there because I just like downloaded a bunch of different instead of just like finding a Christmas playlist, I literally downloaded like a bunch of different Christmas albums on my phone and like made a playlist. But now, yes, they're just in my library. So I'm like shuffle. And Christmas album, um, the Jackson Christmas album is like it has like messages from the Jackson Five. Hi, this is
Yes,
Tito. I'm wishing you a
yes.
Merry Christmas.
It's
So like
bizarre, right?
I'll just have my phone on shuffle and then randomly, hi, this is Jermaine. I want to wish you like, this
This
is
is
Randy.
if
I
you
just
if you
want to
if you
wish
listen
you
to the
a Merry
Motown,
Christmas.
this is the entire Motown output, by the way, because if you listen to the Motown Christmas album, you get it from everyone. Hi, this is Smokey
Yes, and I'm just
Robinson. I'm
like,
wishing you a Merry Christmas. It's like, what?
Oh my
Okay.
gosh. So
Are you gonna
yes, I have
sing me
like a bunch of Nat
something?
King Cole songs
Oh,
and
Nat King
yeah,
Cole's
so like
phenomenal.
I will yes. So I will literally just if I'm like I don't know what I want to listen to today. Let me put my phone on shuffle and literally look at like random Christmas songs because of doing that one year. And yeah, randomly,
The
there's a
messages.
rain. I just want to say Merry Christmas. I'm like, ah,
It's
what
July
is
the
this?
7th, Randy Jackson. Relax.
Exactly. So yeah, I have a hard time putting my phone on shuffle because I will just randomly get Christmas songs. But
Oh, I
um
love that.
yeah, yeah. Christmas traditions that we typically do. I mean, we've kind of made some new ones. My sister's really kind of big on like trying to like make a whole big thing. So when we do our family Christmas, when it's not on Christmas, but like
Yeah.
we've done like match. My sister now is kind of doing this thing of matching pajamas every year. So she'll get us all
Oh, see,
matching
we
pajamas
we don't do
and
anything like
yeah,
that.
we've actually done some really fun things. One year we did like Santas and elves. So like you draw either a Santa or an elf. If you're a Santa, you kind of get the best. You get to sit at the best table, and then an elf, you get an elf. The other, whoever gets an elf, they're assigned to you, and they have to like serve you. So they have to bring you what
It's
you
not very
need.
nice at
They have to
all.
sit on like the crappy table.
That's
Um,
horrible.
yes.
We believe in equality at Christmas,
Well,
Janine.
I don't know, my sister thought it would be funny, and it was
We
because
don't believe in
I was a
competition at
Santa,
Christmas.
and my mom's work friend, Brian, he was my elf, and so he just was like treated me like a queen and spoiled me rotten. So I was happy.
Please tell me you didn't really know who Brian was either. He was just kind of a person that showed
Well,
up.
no, like I had met him that night, but he was very much like my mom's close work friend, and he was really sweet. So I was,
Oh, well,
yeah,
at least he was
he very
nice. At
much,
least he
yes,
was nice.
yeah, yeah.
No,
He was
there's
a
nothing.
wonderfully sassy, sweet gay man who had no problem doting
Oh,
on me.
lovely.
So,
Oh, perfect.
yes,
This is well, this is not the kind of thing that we do at Christmas. I mean, admittedly, for a lot of Christmases, really, been quite fortunate enough to spend them in Canada.
Oh,
So
yes, you would do kind of
with my
animal
family,
ski trips, I remember
with
that.
yeah, with my family. So a lot of my Christmas days have been spent on a mountain skiing,
Yeah,
which
so
is
fancy.
an unbelievable way of spending Christmas.
Yeah, yeah,
But in
skiing the
terms of
slopes of Canada.
in terms I don't speak like that. But in terms of like at home family Christmases, there's nothing like that. I mean, what we do now is we just tend to really have them just me, my parents, and my brother.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
and I like chill because yeah,
there's not
like we do the whole
really a
thing and
kind of
yeah,
big extended. It turns into Christmas vacation after a while, and it just causes arguments and chaos and
yeah,
grief and horrible.
and
And
dramas,
you
yeah.
just need quiet. You can have a nice, relaxing Christmas morning, go out for a walk, come back. Then we'll see my nan and granddad. Um, we'll spend most of the day picking at things to eat. We'll eat a Christmas dinner, and then we might play some games and then go to bed. There's
Okay.
no big kind of we all have to dress the same. There's no we we're a very relaxed people.
Yeah, I can see that.
um there's nothing really like that. We'll have Christmas music on all day. Usually it's my Christmas music playlist because it has all the best ones on.
Yeah.
um a Holly Jolly Christmas, that's a good one as well,
Yeah.
actually. I like that. Um, I don't like, well, I do, but like it kind of gets on my nerves a little bit. It's Run Run Rudolph. Like Chuck Berry's Run Run
Yes.
Rudolph.
You
It's
don't
like,
like
oh,
that?
it's just a bit like, I don't know. I like it,
Do you
but
like
like it's not
Elvis's Blue
one.
Christmas?
I do. I like Elvis's Blue Christmas. I also like Elvis Santa Bring My Baby Back to Me,
Okay.
which is a tiny little song. I think it's probably less than 2 minutes in length, but
Okay.
it's kind of really upbeat. If you think of Blue Christmas, it's quite a slow song.
Yeah.
This one's one of Elvis's like upbeat rockabilly type songs,
Oh, okay.
where it's very Elvis hiccupy, and you know how he sings in the kind of glottal kind of way. It's very like that. It's a good fun little song actually.
Okay.
So that there's one to listen to as well. But no, we'll usually just have Christmas music on, and yes, you get the very typical British Christmas music playlist as well that features such things as are you hanging up your stocking on your wall and all this, all that kind of stuff that you probably don't even
Yes,
remote.
I have
I
no
wish it
concept
could
of
be
that.
Christmas every day. At Christmas time, mistletoe and wine.
Oh, your favorite, that I like to call Heal the World. Yeah.
We are the world
We,
Christmas,
we are the world Christmas.
which is do they know it's
we are
Christmas?
we are the world European Christmas.
Yes, which is just do they know it's Christmas? Yeah, that's always on. I'm sure I
I hate
mentioned that
that
last
song.
week in
I
its
really hate
stupid
it.
lyric. I don't know why
Yeah,
you hate it.
it's it's just so hokey.
It is very
Do,
hokey.
do,
It's
do,
supposed to
do.
be.
Like it sounds like theme park music. Do, 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 do. Like just the tune of it is very much like,
It sounds like theme park music. I love it.
It does.
You'll have Last Christmas, Wham's Last Christmas.
Yes,
That'll
so
be
good.
on.
Yeah, I like
Um,
that one.
the Pogues, the Fairy Tale of New York. That'll be on. That'll be on the Christmas playlist. But as well as like all the like little weird ones, like Have a Cheeky Christmas Time by the Cheeky Girls from like 2003.
What? The cheeky
You
girls? Who's
exactly,
that?
exactly. You will have no concept of who the Cheeky Girls are whatsoever.
Well,
They were on uh, probably season 1 of the X Factor in
yes, no,
Britain.
no concept of them.
They were
Well, a group.
Romanian twins
Okay,
who had 2 songs whose entire gimmick was let's be a little bit rude because
okay.
they were conventionally attractive. And
Yes. Let's play
they
that
had
up.
one song called Touch My Bum. It was a big hit in 2003.
Oh my gosh!
It was exactly as ridiculous as it sounds, and
Well,
they
I'm
also had
sure
a
you listen
Christmas
to
song
it on the
which was
regular.
Have a Cheeky Christmas Time.
Okay, all right.
Which
Okay,
it does
cheeky
tend to be
girls.
if you listen to if you put your music channel on the television with all the music videos on, that'll show up on Christmas. 100%
Okay.
it will.
Well, I actually found something pretty fun for Christmas. I was scrolling through Disney Plus and I found a boy band Christmas special with various members of various boy bands coming in and singing like songs and little
Oh, this
medleys
sounds
together.
real.
Yes, it was very cute. Yeah, it was fun. But and some people who appeared on that were two of the guys from Boys to Men. They have
Okay.
an excellent
Oh
Christmas
yeah.
album. So Let It Snow, their song Let It Snow is so good. It's one of my favorites. So yeah. Yeah.
I've not. You know what? I've not heard their version of "Let It Snow." Actually.
Well, it's a little different than like their traditional
Oh,
Let It Snow.
It's not like traditional "Let It Snow." It's a
No,
different
it's
song.
very kind of turned into their own thing. Yeah, but it's so
Okay.
good. The harmonies are amazing. But
Okay.
yes,
I will
yes.
have a listen to that. I will have
So
only if you promise to listen to that Marvin Gaye one. I want to come
I
home
oh
for
well, I'm
Christmas.
so excited. I think you have to promise me that you're gonna go listen to some pop Christmas, some
I'm not going to
NSYNC,
listen to the
and some.
NSYNC Christmas
You
song.
are,
I'm not. I don't like it.
not that
I'll listen to
one.
"We Are the World" Christmas.
You can listen to their a cappella version of "Oh Holy Night." It's pretty good.
I'll do that. I'll do
You'll
that.
like that, yes. And they
I'll
do
do
have some
that.
songs on there that are very R&B ish. So yeah,
Okay.
just give them
Okay.
a chance.
I'll have to add some things to Morgan's Christmas
Yeah,
playlist then.
yay
Uh,
Christmas!
Yay, Christmas. What about then? Look, for a little bit of fun to round us off today, Janine, just a touch just a touch. I know we've mentioned a few things that we do a little bit differently, but what about
Yes.
in terms of food? In terms of
Food.
food,
Mm.
what do you eat on Christmas?
I mean, I try to just be fancy on Christmas, like you've done your turkey, your big birds, all hams and all that shit on on Thanksgiving. I'm not trying to do
No,
that
you
again for
haven't, because
Christmas.
it doesn't exist, so you just do it on Christmas.
Well, for you, for us, we're kind of burnt out on that kind of food by Christmas, so we don't eat that. I mean, I think for the most part, me in particular, like my sister is very much a big cook. Like we just did our family Christmas this Saturday, and she had a very extensive menu with several appetizers, a seafood soup,
Ooh,
salad course. Uh, we had, I think, another kind of charcuterie course. So she
this is
had, I
very
think it was
fancy.
an appetizers course. Um, uh, then yeah, the soup and salad course, and then your main course, your dessert. Like it was a very long, extensive menu because she loves kind of cooking and testing recipes and doing all these things. So we eat very well. But then, when I do my kind of just Christmas, just at home, I like to do something fancy. So typically, I like to do like steak with some kind of like seafood, so like steak and shrimp or something, and potatoes and veggies and salad, and then like make a little dessert. Some kind of like fruit tart is kind of my signature dessert that I like to make, like a
I
galette.
mean, you
So
can't go wrong with warm fruit dessert on Christmas.
yes, I love
It
making fruit
works.
tarts. My galettes, I'll do like apple or
Strudel,
um, yeah. So it
strudel,
very much tastes like a strudel.
fruit
Um,
cake, warm fruit cake.
you and your fruit cake.
I love fruit
Um,
cake.
well,
Fruit cake's
Trinidad.
Christmas cake, fruit
Well,
cake with
Trinidadian thing,
alcohol in it.
we have rum cake, but our rum cakes are very
Ooh,
different to like typical rum cakes. Our rum cakes are like black. They're like dark, dark, dark molassesy
ooh,
cakes. So they're very like
oh,
soft in texture,
oh, they're not
very
like
dark.
really sticky.
They're very sticky. And
Oh
then
yeah.
yes, and then you taste the rum, the kind of bitter tinge of the rum, but there's enough sweetness there with all that damn molasses to like, yeah. So our our
Okay.
our rum cakes are not your typical, they're very dark black almost with, and you can really taste the rum, and it has a little bit of bitter, but there's enough sweetness to like give a good balance. So that's very much like a Trinidadian kind of holiday-ish kind of dessert. Also, my mom kind of wanted our Christmas to be a bit of a Caribbean Christmas, so my sister did throw some patties on there, which are like beef patties, which are more Jamaican
Okay.
but still Caribbean. It's like basically like a puff pastry with like ground seasoned spiced like meat inside,
Okay.
and doubles, which is a very Trinidadian thing. It's like a
Yes, we
roti, which
spoke
is
about this.
yes,
Yes, we
doubles.
spoke about
So
this.
yes,
I
so
know this.
it's like chickpeas cooked in like curry, and you can do it with
Oh,
chicken,
very nice.
and yes, and you make like a little, almost like a little taco burrito out of it with roti, which is like a very kind of floury, more kind of uh, airy tortilla, like a Trinidadian style, I guess, tortilla almost. So doubles were on our Christmas menu as well because my mom wanted to kind of touch on a Caribbean Christmas. But yeah,
Not
typically, yeah,
so
we
really not roast meat with roast
yeah, we don't
potatoes
eat
and
roast beef,
sprouts.
roast beast, like
Don't
in.
eat beef.
We
Don't
don't
eat
eat roast.
beef on
No, roast.
Christmas.
I meant to say roast beast, all of the Grinch.
No, we don't. We don't eat the Grinch or things that the Grinch eats.
No, yeah, you don't know the whole Grinch story where the
Yes,
roast beast, he carves the roast beast at the end. That's what I
yes,
was
that's
trying to.
why I said we don't eat
Yes,
things that the
I was
Grinch
it was my
eats.
joke, but yes, no, because yes, we're typically, in America, we're typically burnt out on all that shit from Thanksgiving, so we'll just kind of keep it a little more. Uh,
And that's a shame. Way to ruin it, Thanksgiving. Way to ruin Christmas.
yeah, yeah. So no big birds or things like
Not
that,
even
really.
have any sprouts.
No.
No, you have to have sprouts. Even if you don't
Well,
like
I mean,
sprouts, everybody has to have one sprout.
would you like to hear the menu that my sister made for Thanksgiving?
I
I
kind
mean,
of would,
for
but I would
Christmas.
also like to ask
Okay.
why Americans don't have Christmas crackers. Because Christmas, and it's not a cracker that you eat, it's a cracker that you pull. The
Oh no, we've done
explosive
that. We've
crackers.
done that. No, we've done that too. My
Why
sister
can't you
has.
buy them then?
We can buy them. My sister has
Where are
gotten
they
them.
then?
know. I don't know. We've had holiday
Do they
dinners where
have
my
the
sister
little
has.
crowns in? Do they have the little jokes in?
Yes,
Do they
yes.
have a
My
little
sister.
toy in?
I remember my sister did a dinner, and it was like she did like a fish, kind of baked in like the paper, the parchment paper, the fancy like fish un papillon or whatever fancy fish you bake in a
No.
bag. And yeah, she had those on the place setting. So like at the end of the dinner, we'd like pop the little
No,
things.
they're
So
supposed
yes,
to
we've
be
had
done at
those
the
before.
beginning.
Okay, well,
They're
we did
supposed
it
to be
at the
done
end. I
at
don't
the
know.
beginning, and then you wear your silly little paper crown for the duration of the entire rest of the day.
I should have learned that from About a Boy. They did that. Are we having duck? Wonderful.
Exactly.
They were wearing the
Exactly.
paper crowns.
And you all get a little useless toy, or like a nail file, or a
Yes,
toenail
yes,
clipper,
we
or
did
a pair
that.
of tweezers,
Yes, we've done
or
that
a
once, I
pen.
think. But
You all
yeah,
get a little card,
I can't
or a little
remember.
piece of
Maybe we
paper
did
with a
do it at the
joke
beginning,
on,
but it was a while
with-
ago.
and a
Um,
charade. Do you play
yes.
charades?
No, we don't play charades.
Why do you not play charades? Everybody plays charades at
Nah,
Christmas. That's a
we
Christmas
don't.
thing. People
We're
have to
too
play
busy.
charades at Christmas.
We're too busy drinking. So, but yes,
But yes, whilst having a drink.
that'll make it even more fun. But yes, my
Exactly.
sister sent me this very long menu. Appetizers: lamb chops with smoky eggplant dip, smashed potatoes with cucumber feta sauce, beef
Ooh.
patty puffs with cranberry relish, a charcuterie board, chickpea chicken doubles with assorted chutneys. Then your soup, salad, and seafood: spring onion and red pepper soup, kale salad with pecan vinaigrette, roasted petrel sole with pickled fennel and tomato. Your main course: braised short ribs, truffled mushroom mac and cheese, and lemon pepper asparagus. And your desserts: chocolate mousse cake and apple galette.
Good Lord. I don't think anything else we can possibly say is going to top that.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
I'm
just
just
explain to
hungry.
me
It's too
why.
late.
Isn't there a little bit of a story? I think you told me once, but I don't remember. Just to close out, why do you call a sweater a jumper?
Because it means if you put a jumper on, you don't have to jump to stay warm. So it does the job of jumping for you, because that's not at all the reason. Why do you believe that's the
I'm
reason?
like, I don't know.
I've made that totally
I
up
think you have.
off the top of my head right
And I feel
there.
like
I've got no
feel like-
idea.
but I think you've done that before to me, and I was like, "Oh yeah," and then you told me you were joking, and I fell for it again because that was so that joke felt very familiar.
I've got absolutely no idea why it's called a jumper, but it's called a jumper. It's not called a sweater, because why would it be called a sweater? Because you don't sweat it. It's for cold weather.
Yes, but I guess it's supposed to keep you warm enough that it might make you sweat. I don't know. See, I don't know why they call it a sweater. Google.
Stupid things.
Google.
Stupid names for things.
We'll be back in the new year, letting you know why a jumper. We'll do the research and find out. I'll figure out why a sweater is called a sweater, and you can find out why a jumper is called a jumper.
Okay, promise you. Promise you for that.
Yes.
For the
big
episode,
anticipation
yes.
for the new year. Yeah.
In the new year. I think there we go, Jeannine. There we go. For
very long show today. Sorry, guys.
Closing out a fun,
Yeah.
not first full year, but 29 episodes of Monday Madness.
Yes.
For 2022. It's been this year's new show. It's been this year's new thing for us, and it's always fun. And this has been no different today. Of course, we've gone into a lot of stuff today and had an awful lot of fun, as we usually do on Monday Madness. I think there's really one last thing we have to do, is to again wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a happy holidays. Whatever you may be celebrating this time of year, even if you are not celebrating anything at all, I wish you a wonderful festive period.
Yes.
Because
holidays are tough, but people love you and are thinking of you. So,
well, yes, but I mean, even if you're not celebrating anything at all, because your religion has absolutely nothing to do with
any of those
Christmas
things.
or Judaism or
What
anything.
have you? Yeah.
I still wish you a wonderful next few weeks, because I'm sure you're likely off work for a little bit.
Yes, I would hope.
And unless you are obviously not, in which case I apologize. But I wish everybody the best. Thank you so much for spending time with us this year.
Yes.
We, of course, wish you a happy new year as well, and hope 2023 brings much better things for everybody than 2022 has, even if you've had a good year.
Yes.
I hope 2023 brings much better things than 22 has, because that's the point, isn't it? That's the point of looking ahead.
Yes.
That's the point of looking forward. But I just wanted to say thank you to everybody, and I wish you, everybody a wonderful holiday period before we do the plugs to end the show.
Yes. Merry Christmas.
Anything
happy
else,
holidays.
Jeannine? Yes.
No, just happy holidays, happy festive season to you all, and wishing you nothing but love and peace and wonderful things and good eatings and season's greetings.
Good eatings and season's greetings. I like it. Yes. Perfect. Monday Madness is, of course, not the only show you can find on the It's Wonderful podcast feed, nor is it the only thing on this YouTube channel. Subscribe, ding the notification bell on this YouTube channel, of course, for all the fun stuff we have on here. There's more to come from holiday season. Do not discount that at all. There's still Morgan Hasn't Seen episodes. There's still main show episodes to come during holiday season on It's a Wonderful podcast. That is the main podcast feed, of course.
I'm reviewing holiday comedies.
You certainly are.
So you can check those out as well.
Yes, they are. They are here on the channel. If you are watching, of course. If you are not, if you are simply listening to this episode of Monday Madness, you can, of course, also find Morgan Hasn't Seen and It's a Wonderful Podcast, the main show, on that podcast feed. Everywhere podcasts can be found, all major platforms. We are there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with those 3 shows. If you are feeling generous this holiday season, there is a donation link and a Patreon link in the description. If you want to join us over there, find the tier that is right for you. We also, of course, you can find us on Twitter at It's a Wonderful One for the show. You can find me on Twitter at The Purple Don with a 3 instead of the E in there, because, Jeannine,
3 is the magic number.
On Instagram at just The Purple Don. All your festive stuff is where?
You can find me at Jeannine Devine _ on Twitter, Jeannine Devine on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to get any merch for any of our shows, you can find that at our Teespring shop. The link has been scrolling below, or you can find that in our descriptions, or you can just search It's a Wonderful Podcast on teespring.com. We have some really fun designs over there, so please check them out. And if you want to purchase any of my art in print form, you can find that at my Big Cartel shop, g9design.bigcartel.com.
There we go. Anything else, Jeannine?
I think that's it.
Well, count us down in the most festive way you can think of.
3, 2, 1.
Very, very festive. It almost sounded like bells ringing.
Oh,
Actually, it was very, very festive.
Well, then an angel got its wings.
It did. It did. An angel got its wings. Bye.
Bye.
Perfect. Perfect.